small and tight. Do not let you. Sarah's laugh rings through the night. Such a brute, drunk and silly, thought she'd play. Crazy witch, locked me in just for the day. Life's a bitch. Can't you hear me, Sarah, please? Look out, bitch. Out of air, my lungs, they squeeze. Let me out, you witch. This is not a funny joke. You put your hands around my throat. Feeling trapped and nearly choke. Gonna croak. Can't you hear me, Sarah, please? Look out, bitch. Out of air, my lungs, they squeeze. Let me out, you witch. This is not a funny joke. You put your hands around my throat. Feeling trapped and nearly choke. Gonna croak. Sarah, let me out, I'm begging, please. We can stop, I'm almost begging, please. Someone don't leave me here. Lost my hair, in this case I disappear. Are you there? Dark and tight, I curl and wait. Are you passed out? You'd return my fate. You empty my stash out. The game has turned to cruel. Why are you filming late? Inside I feel the fool. I can't breathe. Wasn't meant to be my night. Hiding in this suitcase tight. Sarah's giggles fade away, leaving me as her castaway. Sarah, let me out, I'm begging, please. Please just stop, I'm almost begging, please. Pray someone don't leave me here. Lost my hair, in this case I disappear. Are you there? Boom! Looking tight, I curl and wait. Are you passed out? Hoping you return my fate. Empty my stash out. Stupid game has turned to cruel. Are you feeling me? Lost it, gotta feel the fool. I can breathe. Wasn't meant to be my night. Hiding in the suitcase tight. Sarah's giggles fade away, leaving me as a castaway. Sarah, let me out. I'm begging, please. Breathing stuff, I'm almost begging. Please. Breathe so long, don't leave me here. Lost my air in this year. In this case, I disappear. Are you there? Are you there? Sarah. Oh. 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 Sarah. Oh.
Good evening, everybody. Man, oh man, here we are for another Sarah Boone Trial day. Oh my. The rest of them were motions, but these are the actual portions of the trial that I'm hoping you guys get to enjoy this. Hey, Wesley, how you doing? Happy Monday to you, too. Most definitely good to see you, chat. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this. We're going to be skipping across some of this because I haven't got the full video uploaded because they went a little bit long today. So we're gonna pretty much play it a little bit by ear and see how it goes. Good luck to that, huh? So just sort of catch up. That would be the best bet. I'll have the edited audio, and I'll also be removing a lot of the big spots in there where it went blank for quite some time. Was, no sound, no talking, no nothing. And I'll eliminate those in the video, but that'll be uploaded sometime later this evening. I've just got it was a long day today. Let's just put it that way. So without further ado, let's bring this thing in, and I'm going to see if this works. Give me a second. Nope, that didn't work. Let me edit this thing here real quick. I'm going to edit the layout and add an item, a media slot, and we're going to put that here and here. And let's see if that works. Cancel. Discard changes. Oh, that's not working like I wanted it to. Give me just a second. I'm doing this on the fly. So I'm going to remove this. Remove from stage. I wish I could delete that right there. Let's just create a new custom layout for you. And add. Let's see, add layout. And we'll bring this to the front. There we go. Now we've got it working. That should work. Update the layout. There it is. There it is, mateys. We got it. All right, let's get on with this thing. Good to see you, chat. Good to see you. So, like I said, we'll be skipping across quite a bit of this as we go.
Lays out exactly which types of cases that we'll be involved in.
And we're going to speed it up a
And
little bit
the
too.
reason we're involved in that is our goal is to determine cause of death and manner of death in those individuals that we're investigating.
Could you tell us what an autopsy is, generally speaking?
So an autopsy is also called a postmortem
Hey,
or
Tammy.
after-death
How you doing?
examination. And there are kind of two main parts to it. The first part is what's called an external examination, which is just as it sounds. So that's making observations about an individual. So hair color, eye color, height, any sort of unique markings like scars or tattoos. And at that time, we're also looking for any external signs of diseases or injuries. After that, we go to what's called the internal examination. So that means that we open the body cavities, we remove all of the organs and dissect all of the organs. And again, as we're doing that, we're looking for any signs of diseases or injuries that might help explain why that person died. And we can also add ancillary tests or other tests, so things like toxicology, microbiology. It's a little bit dependent on each case, but we have options for other testing as well.
Can you tell us what is the cause and manner of death, and is this something that you document?
So cause of death is either a disease or an injury that ultimately results in an individual's death. And so it's very individual and unique to that individual. Manner of death is a way to categorize or group similar types of deaths together. And for manner of death, there's only 5 choices. So there would be natural, accident, suicide, homicide, or undetermined. So those are the manners of death.
In your career, approximately how many autopsies have you performed?
Around 3,000.
And have you previously testified as an expert witness in court?
Yes.
How many?
Between 75 to 80.
And in what areas have you testified as an expert witness?
Forensic pathology.
Oof,
Turning our
good.
attention to this case, did you perform the autopsy?
glad to see
Yes.
that.
And what were your findings as to cause and manner of death?
So the cause of death, which I put on the death certificate, is positional asphyxia with environmental suffocation. And the manner of death I classified as homicide.
Now, when you perform your autopsy, what information do you have at the time that you begin that examination?
It's incredibly variable. I can have a lot of background information. Sometimes I have none. It just depends on the particular case.
In this case, what information were you
I hope that
provided?
I can fix that.
So the information that I had was that the
5K
decedent was
reading.
with his girlfriend, and at some point in time in the night, he got into a suitcase, which was then zippered shut. At another point at time, I believe she went to bed, and then the next morning discovered that he was still in the suitcase. And I think that was in about an 11-hour time frame from the information that I had.
And also, if you're wondering, there is a time limit for you. You have to be a subscriber for a certain period of time. It's only because we've had some trolls come in recently and wanted to stir up some stuff. So ahead of time, just so if you're new here, just know that it's not trying to get you to subscribe. You can unsubscribe afterwards. I'm just doing that to make sure that we keep the trolls out as they come in. We try to remove them as quickly as possible, but we can't get to them all the time. So if you're wondering why you're not able to chat, it's because you haven't been subscribed. No worries. Just know that it's there to keep chat nice and smooth running. Once we see that they've gone away, we'll correct that and hopefully get you guys a little bit more ability for chatting. Where are they, Shizzy? I'll take care of them. No, don't worry. I've got them handled. They're good.
You mentioned asphyxia. Can you explain for us what asphyxia is?
Sure. So asphyxia is a very general term. It would be kind of like saying, I drive a car, right? That's very generic. And we know that there are many different types of cars out there, right? So asphyxia simply means lack of oxygen or inadequate oxygen for an individual. And there are different categories of asphyxia. So you can have suffocation, which just means that there's obstruction of the airways. So that could be smothering, that could be somebody choking on a piece of food, or maybe just being in an environment where there's not enough oxygen in the air to sustain that individual. There's a category called strangulation. That would be compression of the neck, either blood vessels or airways. There's another category called mechanical asphyxia. That can be when the body is in an unusual or abnormal position where the actual mechanics of breathing can't occur. So that can be the position of the body, or it can be, like, let's say if a heavy object fell on somebody and you simply can't breathe because of the weight of that object. That would be a mechanical asphyxia. And then there's drowning. That's a different type of asphyxia. And there are a couple of other categories as well that are much less common.
Is there a most common type of asphyxia?
The most common would be ligature compression of the neck. So that would be like an event, a hanging. That would be the most common that we would see.
You also mentioned environmental suffocation. Could you tell us a little bit more what that means in more layman's terms?
So that just means that there's not enough oxygen in the environment that the person is in. You could think of somebody who's in an enclosed space where there's a fixed amount of oxygen. So as that oxygen is, as the person is breathing, they're using up all the oxygen. And once it's gone, there's no oxygen left. Or you could think of maybe people who are, climbing Mount Everest. There's not as much oxygen up there, and that's why they have oxygen tanks. So it just means that the amount of oxygen available in the air around that person is not enough to sustain them.
In this case, what can you tell us about how long Jorge Torres was in that suitcase?
There's not a really good way for me to give you a time frame as to how long he was in that suitcase. Again, because there was both the component of positional asphyxia, being in an unusual position for a period of time, and then also the environmental suffocation component. Because within that suitcase, certainly there's going to be oxygen, but it's not going to be the same as if you were sitting in a room like this. And because there are those multiple components happening at the same time, there's not a really good way to estimate or say with scientific certainty, oh, he was in for X amount of time. There's really not a good way to do that.
How about, is there any good way to approximate or determine the time that Jorge Torres died?
There's not a good way to do that either, again, because there are so many different components at play at the time of his death. Sitting in a normal room like this, the percentage of oxygen that's available is about 20 to 21%. If that were to drop to 10 to 15%, the person can be impaired with judgment, they can be impaired with activity. Once that percentage drops between 8 to 10%, most people will lose consciousness. And at a percentage of 8% oxygen or less, that's when we would expect the death to occur. And so again, there's not a really good way to measure the amount of oxygen that would have been available to him in that suitcase, in addition to the fact that he was in an unusual position.
What position were you able to determine he was in that suitcase?
I wasn't able to see what position he was in. By the time that our medical legal death investigators were at the scene, he was already removed from the suitcase. Based on some of the findings, I favor that he was most likely in like a fetal type position. So knees flexed, arms flexed, and the head most likely flexed forward. Again, that's from my findings. I didn't see what position he was in.
What side of his body would he be resting on in this fetal position?
That's most likely his left side. However, I do say the caveat that some of the findings are dependent on time, meaning that if that suitcase had been moved or flipped over, that could be different than what I'm seeing at the time of my examination.
Tell us, what is skin slippage?
So after death, the body goes through a series of progressive changes. And one of those changes is skin slippage. And what that does is it tells me that that person is a little bit further away from the actual time of death. So it's not something that's going to occur immediately after death for most people. It's something that would occur a little bit later on in that process of changes that happens after death.
And tell us, what is rigor mortis?
So rigor mortis is also called the post-mortem stiffening of muscles. And again, that's one of the changes that occurs after death. Most of the times that will occur before we see skin slippage. But these changes are very variable from individual to individual, and it also depends on the environment the person is in. So for example, those changes that we're going to see happen more quickly in a warm environment. Somebody who maybe is engaged in a physical or violent struggle, those changes are going to occur more rapidly. And then it also depends on the person themselves, their relative size, their relative health. Those things can all impact the changes that we see after death.
How does skin slippage and rigor mortis inform your findings about how long Jorge Torres was likely in that suitcase?
So again, the time frame that I had was about 11 hours, just from the last time that he was known to be in the suitcase versus the time that he was found. So I'm basing it off of that. So about an 11-hour time period. When I did my examination, the rigor mortis was already dissipating or leaving. Also, there was some skin slippage. And so If he had not been in the suitcase, if he had been out of the suitcase, I would not expect that advanced amount of change. It's compatible with him being in that suitcase for a longer period of time. It would have been warmer. And also if he had been, struggling to get himself out, engaging that physical activity, those are things that are going to accelerate or speed up that process. So my findings at the time of the examination are compatible with that 11-hour time period or, somewhere around there.
Additionally, did you note any injuries to the body of George Torres?
Yes.
These injuries that you noted to the body of George Torres, did you document them on what's called a body chart?
Yes, the diagram on a body
Ooh, there's a
chart, and
wackadoodle.
we also take pictures as I'm going through my examination.
2 cuties on screen now. There you go, puddle down. Here, I'll make it better. There you go. Now,
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously
Oh,
marked for
my.
identification and shown to defense as states are?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states are. You recognize this document?
Yes,
And can you tell us, what is this document?
that's a copy of my body diagram.
So-
Oh, it's a copy of my body diagram.
And does this fairly and accurately represent the diagram that you created in this case for George Torres?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states are into evidence. No objection.
so she's
was
going to
pre-marked
show
states
where
are,
what
will
other
you receive the
injuries
evidence without
that he
objection,
possibly
states
had
are?
on his body.
Your Honor, permission to publish?
Weird place
Yes, sir.
before a court reporter. Hey, everyone's always digging on her feet, so just saying. Keep an eye on it, and you'll get to see her feet too. The one attorney's head looks dented. God.
So, ma'am, on this body chart, can you describe for us and point out what was the first blunt impact injury that you identified?
So there were some blunt impact injuries to his head. I don't think it's on this one, but there were some blunt impact injuries to his head right up here around the eye and on the mouth area.
And then, did you notate any injuries to his hand?
Yes, so there were some ecchymoses, or you can think of that as like a large kind of bruise on both hands.
What other blunt impact injuries did you identify?
So there was a series of ecchymoses on the left side of the back, which is right about here.
And any others?
There were some on the forearms as well.
And you use this body chart, you say, in addition to photographing the injuries that you document, correct?
Yes.
As part of your examination, and I believe it's on the body chart itself, do you document the height and weight of the person as well?
Could be
Yes.
Puddletown.
And what was the height of Mr. Torres? in this
So,
case?
so technically for us, it's length. Height is a measurement that's taken while someone is standing. So his length was 62 inches, and his weight was 103
Damn.
pounds.
Damn. Little guy.
In regards to these blunt impact injuries, how is it that you come to the conclusion that these injuries were the result of blunt impacts?
Trip
So
down
these
the
are
stairs.
typical wounding patterns for blunt force trauma. And when I say blunt force trauma, that can mean something striking a part of the body, or on the other hand, can be the body striking an object. And that causes injury to the skin, and to the soft tissue, and sometimes the deeper tissues, depending on how severe or how strong that blunt force trauma is.
Are these injuries consistent with a person being struck with a baseball bat?
They could be, yes.
Are they consistent with a person being pushed down a flight of stairs?
They could be, yes.
Can
I
you
think
say
consistent with
whether or
somebody
not
getting hit
these
by a car.
injuries
It could be,
occurred
yes.
while
Well,
George Torres was in the suitcase?
No.
Why is it that you cannot say that?
So all of these injuries seem to have occurred around the same time, meaning that they're relatively acute or new. They're not things that are healing or something that happened last week. So they all occurred around the same time. But you can't really look at a bruise or a contusion and say, oh, that happened 2 hours ago. There's not a good way to do that.
are these injuries consistent with, them occurring while he was inside the suitcase?
Yes, they could be.
As part of your examination, do you also check the toxicology of George Torres?
Yes.
And is that something that's pretty standard in any autopsy?
Yes.
And what were the toxicology results for George Torres?
Oh, he was shit
So
faced.
there was a blood alcohol level of 0.139 milligrams per deciliter, and there was also caffeine and nicotine detected as well.
That level of alcohol, is that over the legal limit in the state of Florida to drive?
Sure. So for driving under the influence, that's a 0.08. So that is higher than that.
Almost twice, but not quite.
What does that alcohol level at the time of your autopsy tell you about George Torres's level of impairment 11 hours earlier?
Well, he was blitzed.
So I don't necessarily know that it was 11 hours earlier, but it was at the time of death, at or near the time of his death.
January
That's what the
sports
blood alcohol
highlights.
level was. So at that level,
Good to
everyone
see,
reacts
brother.
a little bit differently to alcohol, and some of it has to do with whether or not somebody is accustomed to drinking alcohol or if they've never had alcohol. So you can develop
Force
tolerance.
trauma. I'm sure there's one out
But
there
at that
now
level,
already.
there's going to be impairment of judgment. There can be impairment of motor skills. There can be slurring of words, something that's called disinhibition or lack of inhibition. And again, it's really variable from person to person. But those are the common things that you would see at that level.
Would that level of alcohol impair the ability to problem solve?
It can, yes.
You also stated earlier that you document your autopsy findings also photographically, correct?
Yes.
Just so you know, there might be explicit images. I haven't reviewed this yet to see if there are or not, but if there are, just be warned. I'll try to pull them off if they do pull up explicit images, and drop the camera off for that period of time, so as to not get YouTube all worked up, because I don't want to have and then I can always go back at some point and blur these out. So I want to make sure that images don't get shown that don't need to be shown. She was drunk, but she didn't slur her words in the recording. Oh, yes, she was. She was very much slurring her words in the recording.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been marked for identification as Stage Q and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm
So
showing you
hopefully-
who's been marked for identification as Stage Q. Could you take a look at this composite of photographs to yourself and then look up once you're finished?
Oh, that's good. That's good, Tammy. I'm always curious if they're going to show those. I've been duped before. Well, that's because she expected it. She's probably seen those pictures a few hundred times.
Ma'am, do you recognize these photographs?
Yes.
Are these photographs a portion of the photographs that you took in your autopsy of George Torres in this case?
Yes.
I do trust you.
Do they
I
fairly
try
and
to show
accurately
that to him.
represent how he appeared and how his injuries appeared to you at the time you performed your autopsy?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as Stage Q into evidence.
No objection. What was pre-marked as States Q will be received into evidence without objection as States 13.
In your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may do so.
Ma'am, I'm showing you photo 1 from State's composite.
Okay. So they are showing those images right now.
This is a photo of.
So this is an identification photo that's basically just showing from about the level of the collarbones up.
And this is George Torres.
Yes.
Did you note any?
Yeah,
signs
I
of
agree with you now, Puddletown. No
So there's some
response currently.
ecchymoses around the left eye. This picture it's a little bit hard to see, but I think there's another one coming up.
raise the-
There's
the
also an area of
desk.
ecchymoses up here on the left side of the forehead, with also some swelling associated with that. The lips have some contusions and small lacerations. And then on the left shoulder here, you can see a little bit of some ecchymoses here, or again, ecchymoses are kind of like big bruises.
Turning to photo 2 from State's composite. What are we looking at in this photograph?
So this is his right arm near the elbow. And right here, you can see this kind of darker area. So this looks similar to an abrasion, but it's actually, it's what's called drying artifact. And again, this is one of the reasons that I think that he was in that suitcase for a little bit longer. Most likely that was a pressure point where part of that suitcase was resting on his elbow in that area. And then after death, that tissue dries out, and that's the discoloration that you're seeing there.
Okay. Yeah, so these are not too explicit. Looks just like a bruise.
States 3 from the composite.
So here you can see a little bit better. I don't know if you can get a feeling for this, but this area is what we call edema or swelling. So this whole area is edema. It's a little bit discolored, so ecchymosis. And then again, really at the corner of the eye here, you can see that darker discoloration. And so those are injuries from blunt force trauma.
States 4 from the composite.
So this is the left shoulder and arm. So again, you can see this kind of red to purple area. So this is all ecchymosis, and then a couple of linear abrasions or scratches.
States 5 from the composite.
This is the same area, just a little bit closer up, so you can see this whole area of ecchymosis. It's a little bit variegated, differential in color, but again, that's all blunt force trauma.
And what part of the body is this we're looking at?
This is the left shoulder.
And I'm speeding it up just so I can get through a good part of this today.
States 6 from the composite.
That's the same area, but in this picture, we have a scale or the ruler.
And why do we use scales rulers?
That's just to give an idea of how big the area is or how large the injury is.
Damn, that's a pretty good sized bruise.
States 7 from the composite.
So this is the left forearm and hand, and you can see the area right here that's a little bit red to purple, and then also right here on the left hand, right here and here. Those are all areas of ecchymosis, again, blunt force trauma.
States 8 from the composite.
Again, the left arm. Just from a little bit of a different angle, so you can see, and a little bit with the elbow too here, but you can see all these areas of ecchymosis.
States 9 from the composite.
And now looking at the left hand, a little bit closer up, so you can kind of see a little bit better these areas of ecchymosis.
No, that's fine. You'll be able to go back and review it later. There's I will be uploading the entire video as much as
And again, the left
possible,
hand just closer up.
edited and audio cleared up.
States 11 from the composite.
So now we're looking at the back, and you can see that there are these linear abrasions in the mid-back.
Are those scratch marks for?
They can be scratch marks. They can also be blunt impact, more of just a straight-on blunt impact, especially being in that suitcase if there are objects in there.
What is the discoloration that we see around his shoulders and?
Well, you just have to remember they are here for the jury, not the.
So you're talking about this
not
area?
us.
Yes.
So that's called livor mortis or lividity, and that's one of the changes that we see again after death. And basically what that is it's postmortem after death, settling of blood in the blood vessels. And so it's dependent on gravity and it's dependent on the person's position. So what I mean by that is we're seeing it on his back because after the time of death, at some point in time, he was more positioned on his back. And the areas that are lighter, that's because for a couple of reasons. It could be the position of the body, meaning that it's not in the gravity-dependent position, or there could be something pressing on it. So either one of those.
States 12 from the composite.
But it's all
So those
about
are those
you.
linear abrasions, just shown a little bit
Goes
closer up.
down.
States 13 from the composite.
And the same, but with a scale.
Nice.
States 14 from the composite.
So now you're seeing the left side of his back and also the back of his left arm. And you can
It
see
was
these areas
unintentional.
here
Yeah.
of ecchymosis. And
Sure.
these are a lot darker than some of the others that we've seen. One of the things that I did is I looked underneath the skin in these areas because they're so much darker and so much more dense. So I wanted to see if there was injury of the deeper tissues. So these areas are associated with hemorrhage or bleeding into the skeletal muscle, so the deeper tissues. And so that's just indicating more force applied to that area.
And when you did your internal exam, did you examine this area and did that inform your findings?
Yes.
Stage 15 from the composite?
And that's showing those areas a little bit closer up. So you can see that they're much more dense. There's at least 3 distinct areas here. There could be more than 3 impacts, but there's at least 3 separate ones that can be seen.
Me. Well, good job on Court TV for,
16 from the composite?
getting the shot good where you're not
This is just showing the upper
any-
back and the back of the
anything.
neck. We've got a linear abrasion right here on the back of the neck, and these were the ones shown in earlier pictures.
Hey, buddy. My puppy.
And stage 17 from the composite.
And this is just showing the same area of the back and the back of the arm, but just at a different angle.
Elka, how you doing? Good to see you.
We have discussed and seen evidence of many different injuries. In total, how many blunt
That could have been anything.
did you identify?
I can't give you an exact number. Again, you can have multiple impacts in a very close area, so it can be hard to discern each one. They can overlay each other, or they can be so close to each other. But at least 5 to 6, most likely more than that.
And when you were going through your body chart as well, and I guess we also saw some of it photographically, you also mentioned impact to the left side of the head.
Yes.
And I believe that was subgaleal?
Subgaleal. So kind of similar to what I was describing on the back. I looked at the underside of the scalp. And so in those areas on the left side of his forehead where there was the edema, when we reflect or we fold the scalp over, there was hemorrhage or bleeding that went through the entire scalp and was deposited on the skull. There was no associated skull fracture and there was no bleeding inside of the skull, but it was all in the scalp and deposited on the outer surface of the skull.
So under the skin, but not under the skull.
Correct.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Yes. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is James Owens, and I'm one of the lawyers that represents Sarah Boone here today. I've got a few questions. Can we first talk about the toxicology?
Yes.
The alcohol. You said you've done approximately 3,000 autopsies, and of those autopsies, how many years would that have been over that period of time?
12 years.
Okay. So when you first got down here from Tampa, you were up in the Northeast, came down here to Tampa, that's when you started?
Yes.
And you agree you've interpreted toxicology results in all or most of those cases?
Most, yes.
And you did order the blood alcohol test of the decedent in this case? And you said he was a .38?
No, 0.13.
0.138. And you
Yeah.
also ordered the vitreous level
Yes.
of alcohol as well? And the result was a .213?
Yes.
And you
Yes.
agree that's about 3 times the legal limit?
Close, yes.
Now, you would agree that at those levels, there are some
Damn you.
pharmacologic
I missed it.
effects in the body.
Sorry,
Yes.
And I
Puddleton.
know you mentioned some, but you agree that that level of alcohol in the body would impair somebody's judgment
For most people, yes.
and their decision-making abilities.
Yes.
And it would release inhibitions,
Yes.
and they would be more apt to take risks that they otherwise would not.
Yes.
It happens.
And of course, it would impair motor skills and potentially loss of balance.
Yes.
It would also impair coordination,
Yes.
hand-eye coordination, as well as fine motor skills.
Yes.
It also impairs memory, alcohol does.
Yes.
So there are lots of effects that ethanol has on the body.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, you're aware in this case that Jorge Torres, the decedent, stepped into the suitcase under his own power in a game of hide and seek.
That's how it was reported to me. Yes.
Do you have any evidence to dispute that?
No.
Can you tell us when Mr. Torres drank the last drink he had prior to getting in the suitcase?
That I can't tell you because, if somebody had been drinking either periodically throughout a time period or continually throughout a time period, that's difficult to say.
So he could have stopped drinking an hour before he got into the suitcase, or 5 minutes before he got into the suitcase, or 4 hours before he got into the suitcase.
Yes.
We just don't know. at this
Correct.
point. Do you have any idea at the time of the autopsy whether or not he was in the elimination phase?
So
Metabolism.
he was in the metabolic phase. Yes.
The elimination phase is what I refer to it as, but,
Yes.
okay. All right, now I want to talk about time of death determination. It's fair to say that you did not go to the scene
call
that
it
day
whatever
that
you
Mr.
want
Torres
to.
was found.
No, a medical legal death investigator from our office went to the scene.
So there was an investigator with your agency named Ashley Hammermeister
Yes.
that went to the scene,
Yes.
and she would have prepared a report.
Yes.
And you would have reviewed that report.
Yes.
Do Do you agree that fire and rescue assessed Mr. Torres at 1:07 p.m. on that date, February 24th of 2020?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right based on your case file?
Yes.
And so this investigator that we mentioned, she did not arrive on scene till 6:27 p.m., so nearly 6 hours after the body was discovered, she arrived.
Yes.
And the body was laying supine, stretched out
Yes.
in front of the suitcase.
Yes.
Now, you examined and assessed the body of Mr. Torres at the time of the autopsy,
Yes.
and you said that the body was ambient temperature.
Yes.
Is that the normal air temperature we're in today?
Whichever environment you're in, yes.
So the body was not stored in a cooler for 24 hours?
No, the body was stored in the cooler, but in the mornings when we get there, the bodies are brought out of the cooler.
Okay. How long had the body been out of the cooler before it was examined by you? Do you know?
Most likely an hour to an hour and a half.
Enough to unthaw.
Now, you said that the lividity was in the back, correct?
There's lividity in the back and also on the left side of the body as well.
And you agree the body is stored at the morgue on its back?
Correct.
Now, were you aware of the last time that Ms. Boone, my client, actually saw her boyfriend alive or observed him
Yeah.
in the video, in the suitcase by video from the phone?
I think in the report it was around 12:30 or 1 in the morning, somewhere around
Have
there.
you looked at either one of those videos from her phone?
I briefly saw one that the detective showed me.
Do you know if that was the 2-minute video or the 22nd video?
I believe it was the shorter one.
Okay. So it would be fair, if I said the time last seen was around 11:30, would you dispute that, or?
No.
Okay. So really, from the time, I guess it was 11:30 that evening with the videos, and then you understood that the body was found around 12 hours later the next day or
Yeah,
so.
nothing compared to the
Would you
upcoming
agree
witness.
that the death occurred sometime within those 2 periods of time?
Yes.
We don't know exactly when that is. So
Yeah.
it would be a guess if we tried to speculate about that.
Yes.
Now, considering the 3,000 autopsies, how many cases have you ruled the cause of death as positional or postural asphyxia?
A handful of times. It's not very common.
So about 5 times or less?
Yes.
And we're going to talk about environmental suffocation in a little bit, but let's talk about this positional asphyxia component. What was your ruling in those 5 cases that you ruled that it was positional asphyxia? What was your ruling in
When
terms
smacking
of
is okay.
I'm going to object as to relevance.
Approach.
Yes, there we go. Now, they did approach the bench a few times. Hey, Tammy.
Do you agree that that's authoritative? You're familiar with Dr. DeMaio, Vincent DeMaio's textbook of forensic pathology?
Yes.
Do you agree that that's authoritative?
I'm sorry.
Would you agree that's authoritative or well-accepted book?
Yes.
Environmental suffocation is a lack of oxygen, you would agree?
Yes.
Now,
Yes. She already said
how many of
this.
those cases of the 3,000 that you've done where you found environmental suffocation?
Probably 2 to 3.
So very few?
Yes.
In a positional asphyxia case, that's kind of an example, like you get stuck in a hole, and as you breathe, you sink deeper into the hole, or it tightens.
It can be anything that impairs the actual physical aspect of breathing. So that could be if the neck is flexed very much forward, so that way cutting off the air supply up towards the top of the head. That could be something compressing around the torso, so not being able to take a full breath. So those are examples of,
Or another example may be falling out of a tree stand and getting suspended upside down,
yes,
where the majority of the blood gets in the top half of the body.
yes.
Would you agree in those type of situations that the deaths occur fairly quickly, usually within an hour?
It can. It depends again on the situation.
Now, you said Mr. Torres was 5'2" and 103 pounds?
Yes.
Do you know how big the suitcase was for Mr.
5'2".
Torres?
Jesus.
I don't have the exact measurements with me.
So if I told you the measurements, you wouldn't know one way or the other?
Shorter than my wife.
No, I think they were described to me, and I saw the pictures from the scene, and I was able to review crime scene photos to see what the actual suitcase was like.
Okay. Do you know the crown to rump length of Mr. Torres?
No.
Did you do any demonstrative study on the suitcase to determine what kind of spacing he would have inside that enclosure?
No.
And you don't know the position that Mr. Torres or his orientation at the time that he was in the suitcase was?
Again, I favor a fetal position, but again, I didn't observe him in the suitcase.
Good for her. Good answer.
But you don't know exactly what the positional component was that caused, or what led you to believe caused his death?
Correct. I mean, based on his stature and what the suitcase was, he would have had to have flexed at the hips and knees to be able to fit into the suitcase.
So based on what you said, you would agree you didn't know how much Mr. Torres would have been able to move and stretch his various extremities inside the suitcase, do you?
No.
So you would agree that his repositioning inside the suitcase would have been easier if he didn't have so much alcohol in his bloodstream?
I don't know that I would agree with that.
Excuse me?
I don't know that I would agree with that.
Well, you said his fine motor skills would be impaired by the alcohol.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you meant his ability to just move.
So reposition himself inside this, that would be limited to some degree by the alcohol he consumed.
It could be. I mean, that's not really a fine motor skill. But
Okay. Or the use of his hands to unzip the suitcase would be
Sure.
affected by the alcohol that he had consumed.
sure, that could be.
Okay.
So it's George's fault for not being able to
Now, the
unzip
environmental
himself.
suffocation deals with the lack of oxygen.
Great. That's not a good
And due to that
defense.
insufficient oxygen that we breathe
The horrible
in the air,
defense.
so you essentially run out of the oxygen into space.
Yes.
So I guess years ago, how this sometimes would occur was a child would somehow get into an old refrigerator and it would be enclosed, so it was airtight. And eventually you would run out of oxygen.
Yes.
You would agree with that?
Yes.
Oh,
And I think you said the normal makeup of air has about 20%
that's
oxygen.
why they want you to pull
Yes.
the doors off of refrigerators.
So we had either a decrease in the oxygen levels or a low
Freezers,
concentration
things
of
like that.
oxygen. in the
Yes.
system.
Yes.
Or just fill it with a bunch
And also,
of shotgun shells.
keep in mind
and
that
just
while he's in there, every time he's
blow,
exhaling,
blow holes in it.
it's pushing out carbon dioxide. Okay, so again, whatever oxygen is
make
there
sure there's no
is
children
most
in
likely
it in the
diminished
first
because it is an
place.
enclosed space. It doesn't have to be no oxygen, but it's decreased from
That would be bad.
what we would have in a normal room. But every time that he's exhaling, there's more carbon dioxide that's in that space as well. So that displaces any oxygen that might be there too.
So what volume of air do we inhale and exhale in a normal breath at rest?
Well, it depends. I mean, you can take a deep breath, you can take a shallow breath. It depends. And then there's also the rate at which people breathe. So that's variable.
So if it was average, would you say 500 milliliters on average?
Depends on the person.
Well, would you agree that at
on the
rest, you
person.
take a normal number of breaths per minute of 12 to 14?
That would be considered the normal range, yes.
So 6 to 7 liters per minute
Yes.
at rest? Do you know the volume of room air contained in that suitcase?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly,
how
Puddletown. She had
porous the
plenty of
fabric
opportunity to
of
let him out. She did not.
Did you run any tests on the suitcase?
No.
And she
You
admits
aware
to it.
that the suitcase, the lock on it or the zipper on it was broken, the pull handles were broken?
Yes, I did know that.
Do you agree if there is a portion of the zipper that's open, that air can travel in and out of that space?
Yes.
Do you know what the anticipated exchange of gases would be through that fabric?
No.
No.
You know, if, the suitcase was out in the rain and it rained, do you know, whether or not rain or the liquid would pierce the interior?
I don't know.
I was looking at the body,
From what I
not the
gather, no
suitcase.
studies were done on the suitcase.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So we don't know that zipper being busted, what exchange of air could go in it.
Correct.
And why would they do that?
I think you said there are physiological effects once
No, he's making himself look stupid because these are questions that he doesn't even need to be asking. Well, I mean, I understand why he's doing it, but what does it matter if how much time or space or any of that crap was going on inside the suitcase, how airtight it was? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he could have survived under normal circumstance. Hey, Susan, how you doing? What day of trial is this? You seen day one? Well, this would be actually day two. Day one was considered Friday. This would be partially day two. And what I've got is I've put it down as day 4 because there were motions at the very beginning of the trial, so I did put it down as day 4 before the jury was brought in, just to deal with the motions. But this is day 2. I'll probably update the video stuff on it just so people aren't confused. But yes, this is day 2. Yeah, as far as what position they're in, it's positional asphyxiation. Doesn't matter if he could see through it, he couldn't get enough air to his body, enough air to his brain, enough air to his bloodstream, and that's what caused him to die. Doesn't matter how much was available inside that suitcase. It really is irrelevant to this. But this is one of the ways that they can look like they're at least trying to do something. It's all going to come down to Sarah Boone's testimony to tell you the truth.
Value or percentage of oxygen is decreased from the norm. You
Yes.
said 8 to 10% you become unconscious,
Yes.
and then a value of less than 8% death occurs.
For most people, yes.
Excuse me?
For most people,
And the normal oxygen saturation in adults and children is 95 to 100%.
yes.
So if it decreases, the oxygen decreases less than 10%, someone would lose consciousness and die within less than 30 minutes.
So that's hard to give a time frame on that. Studies that have been done show that the oxygen content is anywhere from 4 to 6. Unconsciousness can occur in less than a minute, death within minutes. But those have been empirical studies.
So, and I know that's kind of, maybe you tell me, that's kind of why
Yeah,
you
we
gave
don't-
the,
we don't
two
intentionally
different
kill people.
diagnoses, the environmental
saying.
and the positional. is because the environmental may have had an effect or the positional may have had an effect. You're not sure, so you listed them both?
It's not that I'm not sure. I think that both mechanisms were at play at the same time, and that's not unusual in deaths, is there can be multiple factors occurring at the same time.
You
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
the
Tomorrow will
percentages,
be a gold
50% for
mine.
one, or 70% for one, 30% for the other. You don't know.
No.
But you would agree in concert, if these two causes, the positional as well as the environmental, if they were acting in concert, that would render a relatively short amount of survival time.
I can't say.
You just don't know.
No.
Yes. Absolutely, Puddletown.
Now,
And I've
we talked
seen
about these
all of
blunt
those
force injuries,
incriminating videos.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. It would be fair to the jury to say that there were no broken bones.
There were no broken bones.
And it would be fair to say that the blunt force injuries on his body that the jury has seen here today, okay, did not contribute to the cause of his death.
Not likely.
And I think you didn't put that anywhere on your report. That it
No.
did not,
I included it in my report. I did not include it on the death certificate.
as the reason or cause, contributing cause of the death.
Correct.
Correct. Well, that's what the
So can-
defense's job is to
All
do.
those exhibits.
Yeah. So you have no idea, and she was very well aware of this whenever she did this.
I didn't hear about that until later.
When is later? When did you first learn about the baseball?
That might have been around the time that I was sitting for a deposition, but I can't quite
When your
remember.
deposition was taken?
I don't have the file folder. I don't know when I was deposed.
It was years ago.
Let me show you this exhibit. This is it's number 14. And this deposit exhibit is state's exhibit number 13.
We'll see.
Picture number
I think they'll probably bring her on tomorrow.
You said they were
Microphone, buddy.
circular type injuries.
Yes.
And you've seen a regular baseball bat or a kid's baseball bat.
Yes.
A wooden bat. And if you were to swing that bat and hit someone, hit somebody's body or hit a suitcase and the blunt force, that would be a linear line across that person. would it not?
It could be depending on the position of the body, the position of the suitcase, and the position or how the object came in contact.
What is a linear?
Well, that would mean what she's saying is if you swing a baseball bat and you hit him with the long side, it's going to be linear. But what if she takes the baseball bat and punches down with it? I mean, if she takes the baseball bat and she hits him with the very tip of it, what happens? Or it also depends on location. I mean, I've had a big knot on my head from catching a baseball, a big circular knot on my forehead. But there's always a possibility, that you could get that same lump from somebody hitting you with a baseball bat, not a ball, hitting you with a bat, or in the same spot. It would turn into a big round knot. It's just... Now, if you hit somebody across the back, there's a chance that you're going to end up with more of a linear pattern because of the bruise.
So linear injury is if you think, linear, it's more like a line.
Now, if you took the barrel of the bat, the very end of the barrel of the bat, and you poked into the suitcase with the barrel of that bat, would those spots there in this exhibit, is that consistent?
That's compatible with that, yes. It's compatible.
And then here's a close-up, this is picture number 15.
Mm-hmm. Even the tip.
Again, a close-up.
Just the
Same
tip.
question. Would that be consistent with poking
Yep.
the suitcase, if he's in the suitcase at the time, thrusting the barrel of that bat?
And like she said, depends on direction,
Yes, it's
how
compatible.
much
with that.
of a bat was hitting, all kinds of stuff.
Now, I want to draw your attention to the cardiovascular system. Do you have your report?
I do.
Okay.
Oh,
You
Jesus.
describe the proximal third of the left anterior descending coronary artery having greater than a 75% narrowing of the lumen due to its centrically placed firm yellow-white fibrolipid atherosclerotic plaque.
Yes.
And is that pretty much verbatim with what you said in the report?
Yes.
And that terminology is synonymous with a single vessel high-grade atherosclerotic coronary artery disease.
Yes.
And in that location, it's kind of a classic location for what people refer to as the widowmaker,
Yes.
because of the location in that vessel that supplies most of the circulation to the left ventricle.
Yes.
If you had a spasm in that artery, that could nearly totally obstruct the lumen and cause a fatal heart attack, could it not?
It could. It could cause a dysrhythmia, yes.
I'm sorry,
A dysrhythmia or an abnormal beating of the heart.
but that could kill him.
It could.
The lumen is the inside space of the tubular structure.
Yes.
And so that was blocked, over 75%.
It was. But there was no evidence of myocardial scarring. So when the vessels become blocked, you prevent blood from getting to the muscle of the heart. So there was no evidence that there was any scarring. There was no evidence that there was anything that happened acutely. When that happens, we can see changes in the actual muscle of the heart. So there were no changes suggestive of that.
Let me ask you something. If
That didn't help her case. Yes, that attorney needs duct tape. Yeah, because that was a stupid question to ask. What he was trying to say is insinuate that could he have had a widowmaker right then and there? Yes, but there was no evidence that he did, because that would have been shown in his heart if he would have had a widowmaker. That could have been a contributing factor, however, not relevant. Yeah, exactly. Could be a contributing factor that he couldn't get enough blood to his brain, but that's irrelevant to this. Mm-hmm.
If he were to get out of the suitcase on his own, and he would have passed out or fell asleep on the couch, and she would have woken up the next day about that time and came down, and he was dead on the couch, and you did this autopsy, would it be fair to say that, in your ruling on cause of death, that single vessel coronary artery osculosclerosis would be your probable cause of death?
It could be, but any sort of injury overrides natural disease if the injury is significant, right? So you don't have to be a perfectly healthy person to have trauma and die. So it's very common that we see people that have injuries for whatever reason, but also have a lot of natural disease. But we look at it as the injuries override the natural disease, because especially atherosclerotic disease, that's considered long-term, right? So that's been going on for years and years. People walk around with that all the time. So what's different is that we have trauma, and so that overrides natural disease. And sometimes natural disease can contribute, but again, it depends on the individual. It depends on the circumstances.
So absent the positional asphyxia or the environmental asphyxia,
Beat
and he was
down.
dead, and you did the autopsy, it would be fair to say that you would determine this was
Seventh
a
grade
natural
science,
death
yes.
from an isolated coronary heart disease, did you not?
It would depend on the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't speculate on this case because I know what I know about
If
it.
you had nothing else, the widowmaker would have caused his death, or you would have to have assumed, having nothing else, that would have caused his death.
I most likely would have given him cardiovascular disease.
Now, this ethanol metabolism that we talked about earlier, and there's a question about you believing he was in the elimination phase, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is it fair to say that Jorge Torres, the decedent, was in the elimination phase since the blood ethanol was below the vitreous
funny.
value?
Yes.
Given the vitreous value was a 213,
213. Okay.
is it justified in saying the decedent's blood ethanol level was at least a .213 prior to starting the elimination phase?
Yes.
Whoa.
Now, you know that the normal elimination rate is, I believe, 0.015% per hour?
Yes.
Is that standard?
It's an estimate.
And so we have a difference of a 0.138 to the 213. So roughly 5 hours of elimination. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
So in other words, you agree there's a short interval where the vitreous and the blood are identical.
Yes.
And then the blood drops beneath the vitreous value as ethanol is metabolized in the blood.
Yes.
So is it fair to say, given the significant difference in the blood and the vitreous ethanol values, that the true vitreous and blood ethanol level had to be much higher than what is reported in your report at the time that he passed?
At the time that he passed? No, this is reflective of the time that
No.
he passed.
Say again?
This
No.
is reflective of the 0.139. That's reflective of the time that he passed. There's not.
Yeah. And I'm not in science class here, but I'll tell you right now, whenever you die, the metabolism stops. It's done. You can't metabolize more alcohol. It doesn't absorb into the system. It stays exactly the same. You're not metabolizing it.
There's not metabolism after death
Okay.
of the
All
alcohol.
right, well, let me, what I'm saying is, he could have been, prior to that time of passing, his blood alcohol level would have been much higher.
It was at least the same level as the
At least the
vitreous.
two,
Yes.
at least the
Yeah.
213.
Yes.
It could have been much higher.
It could have been, yes.
Judge, if I can approach this. This is defense composite exhibit identification J.
Has the state seen it?
Yes.
I'll just duck the cover.
We stipulate J into evidence.
Was pre-marked as defense J, will be received into evidence without objection as defense 1.
It could be. Could be.
Judge, can I publish this?
See if he's got anything worthwhile here.
There's 5 photographs. I'm just confirming the author. So the first one's number 5. What's this again?
So that's the left hand. So you're looking at
Speculation.
at
Speculation.
the outer surface of the hand, the knuckles, the 3 of the fingers.
There was
Yes.
same for picture number 4.
So it's the same, just a little bit further away and without a scale.
Picture number 3
So now you're looking at the thumb and the index
Absolutely
finger.
let the defense hang her.
shows some bruising on the hand.
Yes.
Picture number 2.
So what you're seeing here is, from the scene, our investigators put brown bags over the decedent's hands, and that's, we collect evidence at the time of the autopsy. So at the scene, brown bags are put on the hands to preserve any evidence, and so that's why you're seeing this, because this is a picture that we take.
Me?
We cut the bag
Why
open
is there a
and we take
picture
a
of me
picture
up
to show
there?
exactly what the hands
Why?
look like.
Why are you seeing me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Also up around the knuckle area.
Yes.
The fingers, and also on the section here.
Yes.
And then here's the last picture.
Think I should mess with them? Make it like this.
Yes.
Showing the bruising on the top of the hand.
Like this.
Yes.
What? Oh, damn.
Thank you, Doctor.
Any redirect examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
You were asked several questions on cross-examination about the alcohol level in this case. And I believe there was a term, metabolic phase or elimination phase. Could you just explain for us what that is?
Sure. So in the toxicology testing, there's 2 different levels that I ordered for levels of alcohol. One is they look in the blood to see the level of alcohol. The other is in what's called vitreous fluid or eye fluid. And we look at both areas because that can give us an idea of whether somebody is metabolizing through the alcohol
Right.
or whether it's still rising. It just gives us an idea sometimes of how close to death they were when the ingestion of alcohol happened. But basically, the level in the eye fluid trails behind what we see in the blood. There will be a small point in time, as we discussed earlier, that they will be almost the same. But you can just think of it as the blood alcohol goes up, and then a brief period of time later,
There you
the
go, put it
alcohol in
down.
the eye fluid
Got her
will
feet for
start to
you.
show. So again, it's just to give us an idea of whether somebody is metabolizing or whether they're still, the level is still rising or if they're still, intaking alcohol.
It could be.
So the result in
I'm
this
not
case
worried about it.
was indicative that George Torres's level was coming down.
Yes.
And I think some of the math was a little bit difficult to follow on the fly. But with that rate of dissipation,
I'm so
would it be
close.
fair to
I can
say
almost
that
touch her.
He would have been in that suitcase for approximately 5 hours because he couldn't be drinking whilst in the suitcase. That we're seeing this rate decrease between these 2 levels.
Well, you have to be careful how you interpret it because, the numbers that I have from toxicology testing, that's from one point in time. I mean, we're collecting those specimens at the time of the autopsy. So that's only one point in time. It's possible, but I can't say for certain. All I can tell you is that at some point in time, his blood alcohol was at least the higher level that we saw in the vitreous fluid. So if, the calculation of the 5 hours, that's an estimate because again, everyone's a little bit different. But I think it's reasonable to say 5 hours. Yes, that's within reason to say that.
And obviously, a pretty obvious point that
Make
don't
her
continue
freak
to
out.
metabolize alcohol
Ooh.
after
Correct.
death. You were asked about studies or tests being performed on the suitcase in this case.
Correct.
Think I
Would the
should-
presence of
I should do
objects
this.
in that suitcase also
Like
affect
this.
the length of time a person may have survived in that suitcase?
I guess if there were a lot of other objects in there that maybe could, occlude the mouth or nose, or maybe if that means if there's more stuff in the suitcase, there's less room for the person. So I guess
Another variable that would also be present would be the opening of that
Something
zipper.
like that.
Not,
yes,
if the zipper was further open, potentially more
not that
oxygen
mean.
could be coming into that area. Would that be fair to say?
yeah, there could be more oxygen coming in, but there's always the question is, would it be enough? Because you can still have oxygen there, but it may not be enough. Again, for kind of the factors that I talked about before.
And there would be no way to know exactly how far that zipper was potentially forced open.
Correct.
I have no further questions.
I knew
This
it
one's
did you,
released.
Tammy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, John.
All right, thank you.
All
Sorry,
right.
approach for a moment.
So she's done. The party's going to approach for a moment.
Your signature and the signature of your.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Here we
be
go.
seated. Thank you.
All right. It was outside the jury's presence. This is what
Judge
this
Young.
is.
James Owens here, and I'm here with Sarah Boone. The first exhibit is State's Exhibit F for identification.
Cover the balls, guys, Shine.
Stipulation victim identification, and it is signed by Mr.
I don't think I
Torres,
can.
October 2nd, 2024.
Any other stipulation?
The other is a stipulation of FDLE report, again signed by Dave Torres Jr., Sarah Boone, and James Owens. It is it's listed as identification for identification.
That'd be funny, Susan.
Two-page FDLE laboratory report generated June 3rd of 2020.
Weird to have her right in your face when you're
You
testifying.
approach with both of those documents, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is outside the
Anything else to
jury's
add over and
presence.
above what Mr. Owens identified? All right. Ms. Boone, good morning. You were previously sworn earlier today. I hold in my hand two stipulations. The first stipulation, pre-marked as State's Exhibit F, reads Stipulation of Victim Identification. Reads as follows. The Assistant State Attorney, Dave Torres Jr., the defendant, Sarah Boone, as well as his lawyer, we have a scrivener's error there, James Sullivan. Okay. Sullivan Owens stipulate that the identity of the deceased in this case is Jorge Torres. Signed the 2nd day of October, 2024. Ma'am, have you had the opportunity to go over this stipulation with your attorney?
Yes.
Do you understand what this stipulation means?
Yes.
Are you freely and willingly entering into this stipulation?
I am.
Did anyone force you, threaten you, or coerce you to enter into this stipulation?
No.
All right, the court accepts this stipulation. How do we want to handle the little issue with regard to his lawyer as opposed to her lawyer?
I'm fine with the court making an edit to scratch out his and insert her if that's acceptable.
Acceptable?
Yes.
Ma'am, is that acceptable to you as well?
It is.
All right, thank you. The court will make that handwritten interlineation, removing his and adding her. State, you seek, we'll move this to evidence in front of the jury, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you, sir. Moving now to what was pre-marked as State's N. Ma'am, this is a stipulation of FDLE report.
Yeah, it would be
Reads
weird.
The Assistant State Attorney, Dave Torres Jr., and defendant Sarah Boone, as well as his lawyer, James Sullivan Owens, stipulate to the admissibility into evidence at trial of the FDLE lab report authored by Carolina Benito on June 3, 2020. It bears Mr. Cacciatore's signature, your signature, and the signature of your attorney, Mr. Owens. Have you had the opportunity to review this stipulation with your attorney?
Yes.
Have you had the opportunity to review the 2-page FDLE report that will be attached to it?
Yes.
Do you understand what this stipulation means?
Yes.
Are you entering into this stipulation freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Did anyone force you, threaten you, or coerce you to enter into this stipulation?
No.
All right, the court accepts this stipulation. Any issue with striking through his and adding her state?
No, Your Honor.
No, sir.
All right, the court will make that interlineation as well. Anything else we need to address? State, I will return these to you for the purposes of moving them into evidence with regard to these two stipulations.
Yes, Your Honor.
So nothing else?
Nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Defense, anything else? All right, thank you very much. Anything else we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
No, sir. No, Your Honor.
All right, let's go ahead and stand and bring back in our panel.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I do.
Ma'am, good morning. Could you please take a seat and state and spell your name for the record for us?
My name is Meredith McCaskill, and it's spelled MEredithMcCaskill.
Thank you. Mr. J. Manquire.
Thank you. Where do you work, ma'am?
I am employed at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Orlando Regional Operations Center.
And is that also called FDLE?
Yes, it is.
And what do you do for FDLE?
I am a senior crime laboratory analyst in the biology DNA section.
And what is your educational background? We'll get into training and experience as well, but what's your educational
I don't need to know her educational background.
education?
Usually it's referred to as a DNA card or a blood
Okay.
can
I
be
don't need to
compared
know
to
all
the
that.
known profiles obtained from individuals.
And in this case, was there an unknown item labeled as DNA swabs representative coming from Mr. Torres's fingernails?
I believe it was fingernail clippings from Mr. Torres, yes.
All right, and typically, I know you didn't do the work on this particular case, but in reviewing the notes and in your experience, do these DNA samples from fingernail clippings come in as swabs? Like
I can almost count the lights on
So
the
sometimes
ceiling.
they can come in as swabs, but other times they come in as just fingernail
That's
clippings, so
awesome,
taking the
Susan.
clippers and just cutting off the ends of the fingernails. And then I've also seen it where
Oh,
they've
mine.
been
I
scraped
got a
using
shiny head.
pointed sticks.
And so if there is a swab that came in,
I'm
representing
glowing.
fingernails, then that would go through the process as you previously described for the policy officer.
Yes, that's correct.
And if it comes in as
You have a
fingernails
knock
or
on your
scrapings, you'll
door.
have to
Make sure you're armed.
Yes, that's correct.
And how would you go about doing that?
We have prepackaged swabs in our lab. We can then use some sterile deionized water and drip that onto the end of the cotton tip to make it a little bit moist so that it can pick up any DNA that is left on the
Okay,
item. And then we just
Too much information. I don't need to know how that works.
Other possible DNA on objects or items.
Well, if it's a DNA profile that is obtained from a questioned item, we can compare that to profiles from known individuals.
And in this case,
Man, I don't want my sandwich,
an
Sammy.
example of that, if an object from an unknown source, you could take that and compare it to a known profile. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And if you get a match with that comparison, what can you take from that?
Just that is the DNA profiles are the same.
So if it's an object, let's say like a bat, and there's a DNA profile that's obtained from the bat, and it matches a known profile, could you make the conclusion that that person touched or handled that bat from the known profile?
No, I can't. There's nothing in the testing that we do at FDLE that will allow me to determine how any DNA ended up on an object or how long it's been on that object.
Now,
Well, thank you, Susan. I
you said that
appreciate
in
you.
this case, what was sent for DNA comparison?
In this case, there was a bloodstain card or a DNA card represented as being from Mr. Torres, buccal swabs represented as being from Ms. Boone, fingernail clippings from both hands represented as being from Mr. Torres, and then fingernail swabs from both hands represented as being from Ms. Boone.
Those are the only items that were sent to your lab for comparison.
Those were the only items sent to the DNA lab, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions.
Any redirect examination?
Well,
No redirection
there you go.
is used as far as the state is concerned.
Defense?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, your excuse. Thank you very much.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
See you. Bye. Another one down. Another one down. Another one gone.
All right.
I think.
My current position is a digital forensic.
You said that in this case, what was sent for DNA comparison?
Okay. So she's also a digital forensic examiner. She's going to be going through the digital forensics. And if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be her testifying to these things right here, which are the messages that were sent between both of them. Sorry, I'm not trying to dox any of the phone numbers here because that would be bad. And those numbers more than likely are gone and don't exist anymore. So I'm just going to make sure that, so all they're going through on this portion of it is they're just going through the messages that were sent between both of them.
Talk about the from, paren owner, and then the participants. What does this all mean?
So the from section, again, if we're looking at the first row of data, it's indicative as a text message because the
Oh, and most of this I will be rushing quite a bit through. It's not that I'm overlooking anything. I will have the full video uploaded sometime, hopefully tomorrow morning. I should have those videos uploaded with the audio edits and removing a lot of the gaps in it. Also tonight at 11 o'clock, I believe that's right. 11 o'clock, we will all be over on MG Laws for the men's derailed stream. It's gonna be awesome. You should come by, check it out. I will be redirecting everybody after this, and it's where we talk about everything and nothing and something that means nothing most of the time. It is about 2 hours of just absolute derailment. It makes no sense, but we have fun doing it. So come by tonight. If you're here right now, I'll post the link up here shortly so you guys can see where we're going to be going. But that's where we'll be ending up tonight. This is just to get through this day of trial. I will be skipping over a lot of the evidence. There's a couple of things I did want to point out. Those I'll be showing pretty much in their full. These things I will skip across. And yeah, here we go. Let's get back to it.
sender, it's listing the phone number being used to send that message. And then for iPhone devices specifically, if you're communicating with another Apple device, it may also list the phone number as well as your backup, which is your Apple ID. So if it can't transmit that message, your
Everybody's
phone number might
taller than
default to your
George.
iCloud account. And in this case, it's listing.
Yeah, don't care. Keep fugly creep. It's still fugly. Liz, please do
Turning
something
down
with
to
yourself, Sarah. Bless you.
17167. It's an instant message that indicates it's outgoing from this device on January 13th, 2020, 5:01 p.m. 41 seconds, and it's from what is the paren owner. Does that mean it's from the device?
What's
the content of that text message?
Equalizer.
So what was the line on the number?
Shame on you.
17167.
And bless you and all of you too. I'll get rid of him.
Then the next three are also outgoing messages. What do they indicate as far as content?
Starting with 17168, then I'll be better, followed by 17169, ugh,
Rid of
17170,
in the caps.
Torres.
Turning now
Wow.
to entry 31103, which is on page 49 of the 59-page PDF. Again, it looks like what we talked about before, the com.
So what do you think? She had a little side piece that she was dealing with? I wonder.
Camera application gets opened up to be used at 11:12 p.m. 40 seconds. Is that what this data reflects?
Yes.
And then at entry 31107, a video that ends up being captured as img_1062.mov begins at 11:12 p.m. 45 seconds on February 23rd, 2020. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And then there does not seem to be any intervening closing of the camera application before we get to 31113.
In that portion, I don't see that information.
And then at 11:23 p.m., 03 seconds on February 23rd, 2020, in entry 31113, a second movie is generated by this device labeled img_1063.mov.
Yes.
I'm going to continue publishing on this exhibit.
There we go. And add a little emoji on there. And there we go. So we've got that up there and in message. So that's where we'll be later tonight. Make sure you've got it queued up and ready to go. Damn.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you. Fuck you. Stupid. That's my name. Don't worry.
This is the part. I'm going to rewind it a little bit here. I'm going to slow it down so you guys get a full idea of how intoxicated she was.
PM 41 seconds, and it's from what is paren owner. Does that mean it's from the device?
Yes.
What's the content of that text message?
Sorry, what was the line item number?
17167.
And
I've
bless
seen this
you,
one before,
and all
so-
of you too, I'll get rid of him.
No, I honestly don't think it's that video that will convict her. I think that it's going to be that culminating with the other video they have of him in the suitcase. Also included in that will be her testimony of what she had to say. Hey, Higdad, I don't know how this officer didn't suspect alcohol was involved in this. That should have triggered one of his first instincts. MJ, good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing, lovely lady? I hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in so long. It's been a few days at least in chat, but we haven't talked. We're gonna have to talk sometime. I still gotta get your address so I can mail this package out to you. You know what package I'm talking about.
Then the next three are also outgoing messages. What do they indicate as far as content?
Starting with 17168, then I'll be better, followed by 17169, UG, and 17170, Torres.
Here it comes.
Turning now to entry 31103, which is on page 49 of the 59-page PDF. Again, it looks like what we talked about before, the com.camera application gets opened up to be used at 11:12 p.m. 40 seconds. Is that what this data reflects?
Yes.
And then at entry 31107, a video that ends up
Zach.
being captured as img_1062.mov begins at 11:12 p.m. 45 seconds on February 23rd, 2020. Is that accurate?
Yes.
See, this is what they call metadata.
And then there does not seem to be any intervening closing of the camera application before we get to 31113.
In that portion, I don't see that information.
And then
There we go.
at 11:23 p.m. 03 seconds on February 23rd, 2020, in entry 31113, a second movie is generated by this device labeled img_.
Oh, that's right. Get cleaned up. Nice and clean.
Yes.
Squeaky clean. Wow. So she just kept the camera open
I'm
and
going to
just
continue publishing.
started recording
this
again.
exhibit.
Oof. So this is rough. So explicit viewer discretion is advised. If you don't like disturbing images, then I would suggest just muting it and minimizing it for 5 minutes. All right, come on. Get to it. Here it is.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you. Fuck you. Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it on.
I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real or ransom. Might want to give it for it extra. Because I got it.
Sarah.
Real or ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah.
Fuck you.
Fucking breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut the fuck up.
Sarah.
For the record, that was img_1062.mov, now publishing 1063, same respective file name.
And no remorse. Not even a thought of this.
Sarah.
Here's the next one. Different location. So this is a later video, which means the suitcase is laying in a different position. There's flip-flops laying next to it. It's not laying face down. This is so hard. I mean, I would.
No other questions of this witness?
I'm sorry.
Any
I would be almost
cross-examination?
in tears. That's heart-wrenching.
Good afternoon, Mayor. I believe you stated on direct that you were called to the scene and you were asked to do your analysis out there. Is that correct?
At least a download.
Download. What type of phone was this?
An Apple iPhone XS.
And how were you able to get into the phone, for lack of a better word?
I was provided with the phone's passcode.
Okay. With an Apple phone, without being given that passcode, are you able to get in an Apple phone?
Yeah,
Maybe not
stupid questions.
necessarily unlock the phone, even though that is an option through some of our advanced tools that is supported. But it can have the ability to download the phone even in a locked state and pull 85% of that data.
Is it a much easier process when you have the code?
It's quicker, yes.
And how were you provided that code?
I believe either through Detective Copsel or Connolly at the time, or I may have asked Ms. Boone just to reconfirm the passcode.
And did she give you the passcode?
Yeah, somebody did, yes.
Now, on the first exhibit that went up, or when you're talking about the communications or the identifying factors of the phone, one of the things that were identified is dates and times. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Also, you said it would tell you if the source was incoming or outgoing. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And then you said it would identify, it could identify either by phone number or name. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. On the examples that you gave us, who was the identifying name as to the outgoing on this phone?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Who was the identifying name for the outgoing texts or calls on this phone?
I think in some of the line items that were shown above, it was just listed as a phone number.
Was there ever a name listed?
A physical name, possibly in other line items, but in those excerpts, it's just by phone number.
Okay. Did you ever see the name Brian Boone?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you see the name Brian Boone?
I believe in one of the iCloud or accounts that was logged into the phone, there was associated email address.
Okay. No, taking that, was it any other place where you would see in a different name as to the outgoing, other than Brian Boone?
Again, there might have been other names listed in other portions of it. But again, those excerpts, it was just either by phone number or, again, with the Apple iPhone listing, the...
Well, and see, that this is the defense is having a hard time with trying to do anything whatsoever. If they were smart, they would introduce that evidence in. But the thing is they're not introducing that evidence. So it's not doing any good because she can't testify on what's not been introduced as evidence. She says there might be other stuff, but we're talking about this particular section. This little section right here is what we're talking about. I can't testify anything that come after or before. None of that stuff matters because you're only asking, or should only be asking, me about these particular things. She's doing her job and he's an idiot.
iCloud account.
Do you have a copy of the exhibit up there?
No, not on me.
No.
Can we get that pulled up, please?
I love that, Elka, that he made you coffee. That's so awesome. Hey, flying in late. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Are you able to see that?
No, this monitor's not working.
Maybe we approach.
Yes. Now, see, he's going to try to get evidence in there. It doesn't matter. Is this the one where they go for a long time?
Does help.
Thank you.
Can this witness be
There we
released?
As far as this case is concerned, yes, sir.
Yeah, it
Again,
wasn't
thank you
anything
very much.
important or worthwhile.
Take any other point in time. We're going to go ahead and take our lunch break. I'm going to ask you to report back
All
here
right,
at 2
so
o'clock
they're taking
at
lunch
12A, Orange
break.
County Courthouse. I'm going to give you a
And I'm going to zoom forward if I must. So there was some break. And if I'm not mistaken, they had some issues during this. So bear with me. It'll take a second or two to load up. Whenever it does, I'll bring it up. Okay. Let's see, zoom. Zoom. And if I'm not mistaken, where is that? Because there was an issue that happened in the court today. And I think they're still in meeting with the judge.
What are your
Here we go. This is it right here. I want to increase the audio because it's going to be really important here. So pay real close attention. Yeah, gotta love that. Gotta love that. And I'll have the audio uploaded so you'll be able to hear it much better. Just give me time to get that uploaded tonight. And come on. I'm fast forwarding as much as I can. Here it is. Good, lunch just in time. Me hungry. There you go. Good for you, Fly.
Defense, do you recognize? Welcome back. We're going to pick up with the evidence and testimony presentation by the state this afternoon. We may have to work after 5 o'clock, possibly between 5:30 and 6.
There we
As I
go.
recall, with speaking with some of you, you have minor children and may need childcare to pick them up. Is there anyone here who has any concerns with regard to childcare staying till between 5:30 and 6? If you have those concerns, okay. Juror in first row, third seat from the right. Yes, ma'am.
As long as we get a break between now and then and I can call someone, I should be fine.
I would absolutely give you that opportunity right now to do that. Is there anyone else who has concerns about childcare? If you're able to have childcare, ma'am, is that going to affect your ability to listen to the evidence this afternoon?
No, sir.
Okay. The other party approach for a moment.
And then they take a little break.
Back to the deliberation room and make those phone calls.
Here we go.
Again, we'll pick up from there and just let me know if you're able to get coverage, okay? Thank you so much, ma'am. Y'all can be seated. Thank you.
So they've got it muted right here. Issue with getting child cares. And making sure that everybody's ready. Here comes Detective Hottie.
Good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Yes, it's Chelsea Kepsel, CHELSEY, KOEPSELL.
Thank you.
Chelsea, I've got handcuffs I want to try out on you.
Whom do you work for?
The Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I am currently a homicide cold case detective
How long have you worked for the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
since April of 2013.
And what positions have you held at the Orange County Sheriff's Office during that time?
So I began my career in uniform patrol, and then I moved on to the sex crimes unit as a detective, and then I moved on to the homicide unit as a detective.
In the homicide unit, tell us, what are your duties as a homicide detective?
To respond to obviously homicides and any death-related incidents.
And what type of training do you need to hold that position?
So I went to the police academy, and then after going to the police academy,
Yeah, I don't
became
need
a
to know her
detective,
CV.
And then basically just having experience. Yes.
How is it that you became involved in this case?
Yeah, she received a call. She went out there. She talked to him. Yeah, she is a lip smacker,
4
but that's
detectives on
okay.
each team with a supervisor,
I would-
and then we have
I
one
would let her
sergeant.
smack her
And so
lips
on that
all
date,
the time.
Detective Scott Lowen was basically screening calls for that day, and we were at the office, and he told me about the call.
Are all homicide investigations work in tandem with another detective?
Perspective and training, we all come from different backgrounds, so it just kind of helps the investigation.
Once you received the call on this case, where was the first place that yourself and Detective Lowen went to?
We responded to the scene.
And when you say responded to the scene,
Guys,
and was Deputy
said to her, and basically what,
was the defendant present there at that, with the crime scene observation?
like a kitchen, and then if you continue down like a very small, short hallway, it opens up to the living room / dining room area. And so when I entered, I could see the victim, Jorge Torres, laying on the ground next to a blue suitcase.
Did you work with the crime scene investigator to identify potential pieces of evidence for collection?
Yes, I did.
Did you also have an opportunity to speak with the defendant in this case at that time?
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah, they're gonna hit Puddletown. You're goofy. And they're gonna enter in this evidence. He's showing it to him so he understands what evidence there is.
You may.
Patient first, as
This
Yeah, this is just given what CDs that they're going to be showing.
is the first part.
been marked for identification as states T into evidence.
Any objection? All right, what was pre-marked as States T will be received without objection as States Exhibit 18.
Other
I
than
got some tea I want to introduce to her.
Showing you has been marked for identification as states you. Do you
Hey,
recognize
Kitty
what
Kate.
that is?
Yes, I do.
Keep
Tell us,
Baker
what
in
is
your
that?
thoughts, y'all.
This is the second part of the interview with Sarah Boone.
Why would I keep Baker in my thoughts? What happened, Tammy? What's up with Baker? Well, yeah, what happened to Baker? I hope nothing happened. He's in my thoughts, but dude, what's going on?
On the scene.
On February 24th, 2020,
Correct.
and you had an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming and move was previously.
Okay, so it's just introducing stuff. So you can't just come in here and drop those kinds of things off there. Tammy. Happened with Baker.
Hours. This is an unmarked.
All right, here we go. All right, so this here is the interview and the vehicle. Baker ate something yesterday and got food poisoning. Oh, I hope he gets to feeling better. That sucks. Oof. Well, I hope he ate something, but that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Damn. I told him not to be eating them raw fish and stuff. It isn't good for you.
CET is February 24th, 2020. The time now is approximately 16:57 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located in my unmarked vehicle out in front of
So we've slowed it down just a little bit.
Lane,
Listen, Baker overdose on some rotten fish and more lope. More lope.
And also the car with my partner.
I don't know what the name of that stuff is.
And in the front seat is, can you state your name, ma'am?
That's funny. That's funny.
And your birthday? 10-10-7-7. Okay.
That's why eating raw does, not fun.
Sarah, I know you have talked to some deputies. I know we had a very brief conversation, just to reiterate what you told that deputy. But like I was explaining, I would like to get a more further understanding of what happened last night and ask you more detailed questions. I am going to read you your rights, but it's just because that's how we do things, okay? So you do have the right to remain silent, okay? Do you understand that? Yes. Okay. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me? No. Do you understand what I just read you? Yes. Okay. So.
All right, her rights were read to her right there.
You said that you and your boyfriend.
Her rights were read to her, and she understood, and nobody was threatening or coercing her, so she's good to go. This was one of their arguments that they had, and that right there flies in the face of it. Yamaha biker. Hey, you.
George were here at your residence and didn't really leave that day. You said that he went to the store to buy cigarettes. Yes. What time was that around? If you recall. Was it light out still? Dark out? Yes, it was light out still. It was still light out. Okay. But he's the only person that left and he came back? Yes. I'm assuming? Okay.
Sorry to hear that, Kitty Kate.
Okay. And tell me what you guys were doing next. Like what was happening?
We had a bottle of wine. We painted, we drew, we did
bottle
puzzles.
of wine.
Do you remember what wine you guys were drinking?
All right, just think about this. All right, just give this so careful consideration. Here, I'll bring this up so you can see. All right, here. So this right here, damn it, here. I'll just do it this way. So this right here is what is it? It's like 12 fluid ounces, okay, or 355 milliliters. Double this little bottle right here, which would be about the same size as a beer. Now double that is a bottle of wine. Now double those 2 bottles of wine, and remember that's about what, 14 to 20% alcohol on a 100-pound person. Even half a bottle. Basically, each one of them finished off an entire bottle of wine. That doesn't include the half a bottle they had before this. That's pretty damn wasted.
Drinking?
What Chardonnay?
Okay.
The bottles are in the trash.
Okay. Chardonnay. Okay. And do you remember around like what time this was that you guys were sharing the bottle of wine, painting, doing puzzles?
I'm gonna say 4-ish.
Okay. And was this before he went to the store or after?
I'm sorry?
Had he already gotten home from the store at this point to buy the cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay.
It only
So
sucks when
around
there's the stain in
4
them.
p.m.-ish that you realized, and you guys were doing,
Puzzles and art,
okay.
listening to music, enjoying each other's company.
And all downstairs, upstairs? Where did you guys?
Downstairs.
Downstairs, okay.
We usually sit on the back porch because we smoke, you're not allowed to smoke inside, so.
Okay. And who was here last night? Was it just the two of you? Yep, okay. No one ever came over at any point? No? Okay.
We call his daughters on FaceTime.
Okay.
We're just literally just enjoying one another's company.
Okay. And you guys share the phone that you have,
Yes.
correct? Okay, and the phone's located in there, I think, in the
Yes.
dictionary? Yeah. Alright. So tell me what happens next. You're painting, you guys are doing this puzzle together, you obviously finished the bottle of wine.
Yes.
Did you have 1 or 2 bottles of wine?
Well, we had one previously that was maybe.
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
Okay.
But then,
So you finished that one and then you had the full one?
yes.
Okay.
And sorry, what was the question?
What did you guys do next after the bottle of wine, like after
Well,
you
we had-
finished the wine?
We had the bottle of wine while we were doing our arts and crafts.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, just waiting, we were puzzled out, we were painted out.
Mm-hmm.
So, being silly, let's play hide and seek, which we had played before. Like, I don't know if you've opened the door on the top of the stairwell, like, he and I have hidden in there before, like, just having fun and enjoying each other's company.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's literally all it was. And then the suitcase is downstairs because I was telling you, we were going to do donations.
Mhm.
And because it's not a very good suitcase, what was the question? I'm sorry.
You were just explaining to me that
Oh, he decided to hide in there. So, being silly, he and I were sitting there laughing at it, like with him in there. And then, so I didn't zip it up all the way, but I mean enough to where his little fingers were out there and whatever, but still having a good time and whatever. Then I guess I decided to go upstairs and I don't know, I fell asleep. So I woke up this morning and again thought he was downstairs on the laptop looking for a job, as he usually is. And then thought, where is he? Is he on the back porch?
Hey, Debbie,
Is he in the
how's it
bathroom?
going,
Like,
Debbie
where is
Webb?
he?
Sir Frank Oliver.
And then I came to about the suitcase. So I opened the suitcase, I took him out, stretched him out, started to do CPR. Where air was coming out, but
You did not start CPR until 911. And that was a long time in between that.
and then like whatever gurgle. So I'm trying to do CPR on him. I'm shaking him, trying to get him to come to, but I can tell by looking at him, something was wrong. He's been losing his teeth lately and has been complaining about his chest hurts, which is why I keep trying to get him to go to the doctor, but because he nor I have a job or insurance, has been putting it off. So again, I didn't know what to do, so I called Brian, my ex-husband. I called him, he came over, just walked in and then walked out. I grabbed my phone and I called you guys. From there, here we are.
Okay. The first time you woke up this
She
morning,
counted.
did you look at your
Bet
phone
she
to see
did
what time
count.
it was?
No. Most of the time, like I'll wake
99
up,
bottles of beer on the
but
wall,
because he
99
nor I
bottles of
have a
beer.
job, I'll usually just lay in the bed for a little bit longer because the house is clean.
Don't
There's nothing else that
have,
we can
neither of
do.
them have a job yet. They're
He
getting
can use on a laptop
trashed.
looking for jobs. I can't use a laptop. So most of the time I'll just stay in the bed and collect my thoughts and get ready for the day.
So
At
do you have
like
any idea what
noon.
time you woke up that first time? What time it may have been?
God.
I don't know if you guys have
I'm
that.
gonna say 11 something. 11 something.
Your guy puts a damper on
Maybe.
CPR.
Is that when you
That's
finally
right
got up,
down
or
the
is that the
hall.
first time you woke up?
No,
Oh,
that's the
God.
time that I decided to get up because I figured he was downstairs on the laptop. So let him look for jobs on the laptop and then usually I'll clean, he'll look for jobs, or vice versa, where I'll look for jobs and he'll clean.
Okay. So you think you got out of bed after 11 at some point?
Yeah, I've seen your apartment. It doesn't look
But we
too
can't recall which
clean.
time. Do you think you were up for like hours before that, or collecting your thoughts? or-
Brian because I was supposed to have my son today to pick him up from school. Brian usually calls to make sure, hey, are you sure you're getting Lucas today? Because I've had job interviews.
Right.
Are you
Yeah,
going to
exactly,
get Lucas?
Tammy.
So after he called like maybe 3, 4 times, maybe 5, I finally answered, and that's like.
Do you think you were sleeping and missed those calls?
No, I ignored them.
You ignored them?
Because
Okay.
he's notorious for blowing up my phone.
Okay.
But I understand why, because he's making sure that Lucas gets home.
Right, yeah, okay.
And to do whatever he needs to do day-wise so he can schedule around it.
Were you upstairs in your room at that time when you were ignoring those phone calls?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're not really sure what time you woke up initially, but you were upstairs collecting your thoughts. You figured he was on the laptop downstairs, so you were just getting ready for your day.
Yes.
You finally got out of bed at sometime after 11 a.m. and had gone downstairs.
Yes.
Okay.
Looking for him. And
Couldn't find him, looked outside, couldn't find him anywhere.
He
And then
wasn't in the bathroom. I was thinking maybe he's in the bathroom. But then I came to.
And then
it was
you-
the suitcase.
then you called Brian.
Yes.
He came over.
Yes, he came over.
That's down the road, right? Not very far. He came over, walked in, basically walked out. You called 911.
Yes, I had my phone in my hand. I just wanted to wait for him to get there because I didn't know what to do.
Great.
Oof.
Okay. And then we arrived.
Like, I still, to the,
Chest compression with her foot. I guess
don't know what
so.
happened. Like, I don't know what
Chest
happened, but
compression with a
I'm
baseball
hoping
bat. Poke him a few times, make sure he's still breathing.
I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. He and I were having an amazing time yesterday, like we normally do.
No arguments?
No.
Nothing? Okay.
And the thing with him, though, is, which is why we've been doing puzzles and artwork lately, is that he's been stressing out about a job, of course, which we've talked about. So what I did was start having him do puzzles and artwork to keep his mind off of it.
Okay.
His ex-wife is all over him about sending money.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Here's the thing, sweetheart. If you're stressing out about getting a job, how about this? Stop drinking. You guys are bad for one another. Just bad for one another. If you're wanting to do something useful in your life, stop drinking. Both of you. It would have been so much easier if you just would have stopped drinking. He probably could have found a job pretty easily.
Which he can't do because he doesn't have a job.
Right.
So he was stressing about that. He was
Same
stressing
here.
about the job. But that's why I started to buy puzzles and paint to get his mind off of them, which is what I don't know.
So spend more money that you don't have buying things that you don't need. Why are people so stupid? That makes no sense. If I was looking for a job, the last thing I would want to be doing is a puzzle. Maybe brush up on some skills, get my resume down a little bit better. That would be what I would be wanting to do. I don't know. Some people are strange.
Notice on the wall in there, it's all of our artwork and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, music, art, and playing with the dogs, dancing around the room with the dogs. And then decided to play hide and seek. Because we're always trying to outdo each other on where we can hide the best.
How often do you guys play hide and seek?
Gosh,
You have an 800 square foot house. How many hiding places are there? Well, let's try something new. How about a suitcase? That sounds mighty fine. Let's stuff ourselves into suitcases. You first.
that was maybe, the third time? Maybe.
Okay. Is it a more recent game you've gotten into, or 3 times in total in your relationship you're talking about?
Lately.
Lately.
Because again, like, we were puzzled out. We painted already, so why not?
So you were downstairs hanging out. Do you remember around what time you guys started playing
She
hide
didn't
and
like
seek?
George's music. I write better music.
Honestly,
Sorry, Sarah, I'm taken.
Do you remember if it was dark out?
It was dark.
Okay.
It was dark. But my thing is like when I spend time with him and I try to get him to start doing it, I don't look at the clock.
Okay.
I'm here with him and we're having a good time. I don't even know what time it is.
Right.
How's
I didn't know
hide
you were,
and
like, on your
seek if she
phone,
helped him
and you
into
got a
the
text message,
suitcase?
You got a phone call last night?
We called his daughters yesterday, FaceTime.
Right. What time was that at?
I don't know without looking at my phone.
Okay.
But I ended up,
Would that be the only activity that you had yesterday on your phone?
Details that drunks don't pay any attention to.
I talked to Lucas, he's my son.
Okay.
Like to hide in the crapper tank.
Morning.
They'll never
No,
find
it
me
was
in here.
Evening, okay.
But
I'm just trying to help you, like, remember, like, something you did right before hide and seek that would help you remember a time, or give us a good time frame, because that's important for, us to know. I want to be able
It
to
is a
put
legitimate
that.
question,
to be
Paul
honest
Town.
with you.
Okay, so when you called Lucas, was it before or after hide and seek?
Before.
Okay, and when you called and
Need a song
FaceTime
someday. I'll make that happen.
his daughters before or after hide and seek?
Before.
Okay, and did you call the daughters first and then Lucas, or Lucas first and then the daughters?
I never talked to Lucas, but then we talked to the daughters afterwards.
Okay.
And I don't remember if she called us. No, I know he called Cookie. But yes, we called her.
What are the two daughters' names?
Money
Or
don't
just
buy
one?
anything.
Did you say one
He has
daughter?
3 children.
Yeah.
It's Anna, Cookie, what her real name is Destiny. And then he has a handicapped son, Georgie.
Okay. Who did you call though yesterday? Who did you call?
Cookie,
And what is Cookie's real name?
Destiny.
Does she have his last name or something else?
Why all the stripper names? Good Lord.
Yes, she remarried, but I don't know her last name.
Okay. Okay, so you know it's dark out, but you're not really sure what time it is. You play hide and seek. How long do you guys play hide and seek before he decides to get into the suitcase?
No, her stripper name is Cookie, but we call her Destiny. Destiny is a stripper's name too.
Came downstairs because I was tired of hanging out in the shower.
Okay.
So that's when he was playing around in the suitcase. So
Okay.
because
Hell yeah.
we both thought it was funny that, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna zip you up. You didn't come look for me. So again, it's a broken suitcase, but
What do you mean by broken?
it's only got one of these. But because I didn't zip it up all the way, he was doing the
You mean it doesn't have like the pull part?
correct.
Okay, but it
No, I think it's got a, what do you call it? A paper clip.
Okay, so the zipper to it is missing, like the actual zipper that attaches to it to help you open and close is missing, but you think a paper clip was on it instead?
I believe there's a paper clip on it, because I know that the last
That's what
time.
you use to like help assist you?
Well, or you can just stick your fingers in there and
Right, yeah.
unzip it yourself, which is why I did not zip it up all the way.
Okay. So how much did you zip it up?
I mean, I don't really know.
You said his fingers were able to stick out?
Yeah, 2 fingers.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm figuring
His fingers are sticking out of the
but then
taint.
I wanted to go upstairs and waited for him, and eventually I guess I fell asleep. I had the dogs in the bed with me. It was warm, and
I
then
bet she did.
fell asleep.
So you don't think them dogs were just sitting there looking at the suitcase going, why is he in the suitcase? Nah, it's a dumb move. So she called all the dogs up there to her. No wonder her house is in such a disaster.
So you guys are joking, he's in there, you said you could see 2 of his fingers?
Yes.
And then, like, you just decided, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs now, or?
Because I figured he would get out and then go upstairs and have intimate relations like we normally do. But
Do you
I
want a
fell
full
asleep.
frontal, Cynthia?
And he never came upstairs. So
Shame.
again, I'm thinking he's downstairs on a laptop earlier today. And then remember.
Okay. So is this something that do you guys play hide and seek before you have sexual intercourse, or do you guys just play hide and seek because you're bored and you're just trying to pass time and it's fun?
We were again puzzled out. Can't paint anymore. Even started to purge some of the art that's on the wall now. So
Wow. And they're going to switch out the tape here. Part 2.
20-017904. My first recording on a separate digital recorder, the memory became full and we could no longer record. But I'm in my unmarked agency vehicle with, can you state your name now? Sarah, and my partner did have to
But it
stop
never
blowing.
happened. I hit it with a
We are
baseball bat a few
outside
times.
in my unmarked agency vehicle outside of 4748 France Lane, number 3 in Winter Park, collecting a statement from Sarah. Okay, Sarah, just for recording purposes, because it did technically stop and I wasn't able to say the time that it stopped prior, we have not talked anything further, not on recording.
correct.
Okay, and you do understand that you don't have to speak with me if you don't want to, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Right. So I think I asked you, my last question was, and I'm not sure if you may have answered or not, but my last question was, you guys were just playing to have fun, and it wasn't like something you did right before, like, sex thing?
No.
Or it's just because
Just
you
us
were...
being silly.
Okay. But you do say that you are in...
See, it wasn't a sex thing. She says it right there that, nope, had nothing to do with sex. We're not into the kinky stuff. We're just clean as can be. You know, no, nothing strange there. Nothing strange there except, well, a little hide and seek, some funny games, a little hokey pokey. Except you put your left foot in, then you put your right foot in, you put your body in, you put your right arm in, you put your left arm in, and then you zip it up and you shake it all about. That's what she wanted to do. That's how she plays the hokey pokey.
Intimate. Are you guys intimate every single night?
No, not every single night.
Okay.
But I mean,
Did you think it was gonna happen last night?
Yes.
Did you guys talk about it, or you just
No.
assumed like, oh, we're probably gonna have sex tonight?
yes.
Okay.
Which is normally after we do the puzzles and artwork and everything, yes.
Okay.
We were just having a good time,
Okay.
just enjoying each other's company.
No, here's the thing. There was nothing. The zipper was not broken. Okay, on that particular suitcase, she had because. All right, so you got your zipper. You got your zipper. Here, let me bring this up here real quick. All right, I'll just draw it out. All right. So what you got is you got your little zipper. All right. So it's got little tines in it like this, and those little tines interlock with other little tines, and it goes all the way down. All right. And then on that zipper, there's this little metal thing that basically opens them and closes them. All right. It's got a little loop right there. All right. This little metal tab that comes off of here normally, you know, you got that little tab on a zipper. And she's a zipper head. You know, what can I say? She's a total zipper head. So this little metal piece right here was missing. All right. What they had done is they had replaced it with just like a paper clip or a screwdriver or a baseball bat or something. They replaced it with something. So that little portion that was missing. All right. And whenever that little piece is missing, you end up with a problem of, the little tab or the little flap of it is missing. And they replaced it with a paper clip, but that doesn't matter because whenever you got shit all zipped up, and here I'll show you. So you got your little zipper and it's all zipped up. You can't, you got this all zipped up right here. Zipper head McGee right here. You got that all zipped up. You got this little thing right here. Now there's other little tines, and they sort of go off like this. Normally you'd have those little openings, and of course you got a little finger sticking out right here, and it's hanging out. And then she said there was another little finger that could get out. So you got the other little finger. So there's two little fingers sticking out there, and they're just hanging out. They're saying, "Hey, look at me, we're fingers." But according to her, she left enough to get two little fingers out. Now, if he's a really small man, it means he's got two little fingers that he could stick out there. But oh no, he can't stick his little fingers out of there. Now, what happens? So she's got it zipped up like this. This thing's all zipped up, and of course you got your little tab there, right there in the middle of it and everything. But it's like some sort of paper clip or some crap like that. And of course, she's saying, "Oh, you can get out through this little hole right over here. Here's your little fingers sticking out here. No, little fingers can't make it out. They can't make it out of there." All right. So what she's thinking is his little fingers are going to just zip that thing all the way down. He's going to just crawl right out of there. But that never happens because she zipped it all the way up and then flipped it over on top of that zipper so he couldn't open the damn thing. Incoming Louisville Slugger. Well, the Louisville Slugger, it comes swinging in there, just, a little baseball bat, like I can't draw a damn baseball bat to save my life. It comes swinging in there, and it's just like, donk, 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 donk. No, you're fine. Just shh, it's okay.
And so,
Dancing with the dogs.
At any point, when he was in the suitcase, did you hear him say, please let me out? Was he?
We were laughing about it.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're laughing while you're smacking him with a baseball bat.
Did you make any
Nice.
jokes about it? Oh, you're in the suitcase, but I know you had said that you were left
Yeah,
upstairs.
how's this
and you
feel?
needed to come find you. Did you make any jokes about, oh, okay, well,
No.
now you're in the suitcase?
No.
Okay. But I'm assuming the game was over, like you guys weren't gonna play, you weren't gonna continue to play hide and seek anymore? Like you went upstairs?
No,
and
we
went into the
decided to play
room?
baseball.
Waiting for him.
Okay.
George was going to use
And
his
did you
head
lay
for a
down?
baseball.
Yes, the dogs got in the bed.
Do you guys sleep together in the room every single night?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
The dogs?
Okay. And which side of
I
the
guess
bed
if
do
you
sleep on?
have enough peanut butter, she gets the dogs to sleep in bed with her.
Okay, here's the bed. I'm on the left side, he's on the right hand side, because I've got Lucas's pictures over here, he's got his kids' pictures over here.
Okay, so
So
you're
it's towards
closer
the
to
wall.
the door or closer to the other? Are you closer to the door to exit your room or is he closer?
He is.
Okay. So where the pictures of Lucas are on that side, that's your side?
Correct.
Okay. And is that where you slept last night? Did you sleep in the middle of the bed? Did you sleep on your side of the
I
bed?
slept on my side.
Your side? Okay. And I noticed there's like one pillow on the bed and then there were like 3 up against the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Are those his pillows and he brings them into bed or what's?
No, when I woke up, what I normally do is, I don't know if you noticed the mice that we have in there, Lucas's mice,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll make the bed, excuse me, clean the mouse cage, and then go downstairs.
Okay.
So, but what I'm saying is that normally I'll fix up upstairs and then I'll head downstairs.
Okay.
So that's why those were over here, was because I was trying to fix up the bed a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Were they in the bed prior? Like when you went to sleep, how many pillows were in your bed?
We only have the 2.
You two.
Well,
Okay.
it's the 2 white ones, king-size ones, when we watch movies,
Mm-hmm.
we'll put behind the white one and then.
Look, it's
those
hidden.
goes-
It's hidden. You can't see that shine no
Okay.
more.
Do you use one pillow to sleep or do you each have one, right? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So you just basically didn't finish making the bed, is my understanding. That's why the pillows are up against there's like 3
Correct.
pillows up against the closet.
Yes.
They're like standing.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because I'll move all the pillows off and then I'll shake out the bed and then put everything back together.
Okay. Okay. And did he say anything to you while he was in the suitcase? I know you guys were laughing, joking, but
You said,
any
"Help,
jokes made? Was any-
Sarah,
No,
let me
nothing
out."
negative or-
He said, like,
We were laughing about it.
mm-hmm.
I mean.
Do you
and
sound
I
like he was
went
laughing?
upstairs.
Did you tell him you were going upstairs or?
No, I did
Sounds
not.
to me like she was laughing about it.
I literally went upstairs to wait for him.
Was the line, was it all gone at this point while you guys were playing hide and seek?
I think so.
Okay. Is it, at that point, I mean, I don't know how often you drink, but would you say that you were under the influence and he was
Oh,
under the
she's
influence?
jonesing for a
or
drink right now, I bet.
Well, I mean, we weren't drunk.
weren't drunk? Okay.
Oh, weren't drunk.
I mean,
No,
we had
not after a whole bottle.
A
Not
handful
drunk at
of
all.
glasses throughout the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we weren't like inebriated where you couldn't drive. You could still, I mean, we were compass mentis. That's what I'll say. Both of us were compass mentis.
Okay.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Yeah, I don't know what that word means.
I mean, we had our wits about ourselves.
Okay.
That's why he and I were
Here's the
playing.
thing though, this isn't a trick question, you're at your home, you're consenting adults. If you're drinking, say you were drunk, there's no law against it.
Right.
Nobody's judging you, you're at home.
Neither one of us were drunk.
Okay.
We were just,
I'm just trying to.
At the giddy stage.
No, we weren't drunk at all.
that's what it was. Listening to music again.
It's the whack-a-mole's whack-a-finger.
Well, luckily his blood alcohol level will show us at the autopsy as well too. So, we have that as well. Okay,
Shoot from the
so,
oil. Oh, that's so cold.
There was no ill will between the 2 of us last night.
No, none at all.
None.
when's the last time you guys
Um,
have gotten into an argument?
See, now I have a hard time believing anything of what she says at this point because she's already lied and said we weren't drinking. Okay, if she's saying we weren't drinking and then she follows that up as like we were having a good night, we're having all these wonderful things happening, how can you believe anything that she says after you could prove he was trashed, she was trashed? It's like she's got this fantasy in her mind of everything was good and everything was perfect. And she's delusional, obviously.
Maybe last week.
Okay. over just normal relationship stuff, or?
It's a little bit of everything because he and I both stressing about jobs.
Right.
It's been extremely depressing for him where he worked up here at it used to be an Ace Hardware, but Ace dropped them as a franchise because of how bad the store is going down, and he thoroughly enjoyed.
What do you think? The store went to crap. It was an Ace Hardware. It went to crap. The store was like, we're failing. We're gonna have to let you go because, well, you show up drunk all the time. Maybe. Ah, Cynthia, that was my favorite fire.
His job and everybody he worked with. But it's between stuff like that, and then of course we've got the bills that we have to pay, and I've been having to ask Brian, my former husband, for money to pay for electricity and hot water for Lucas and groceries.
Okay.
You're having to ask your ex-husband to support you, woman. Like, how about this? Put down the bottle, go get a job. She's young. At this point in time, she's still young enough. She could find a damn job, but she is a party girl to the tilt. Like, she's like, nothing can touch me now. She was desperate to get that Dr. Pepper on the counter, wasn't she? Jammed handicap. Yeah, I guess she was. I don't think she could reach it, though. Her legs are too short.
So I think that, of course, because he can't support me, has been bothering him, which is why I bought a new puzzle for the two of us to do.
Right.
And that's what we were working on in the painting.
Okay. Do you guys normally argue often, not often, weekly, every other?
It all depends on like if he had a good day or a bad day kind of thing, where
Oh, him. He had a good day.
he would just be happy to come home and see me because he knows that it's going to get better. And then most of the time he would go for a drink and we would sit on the back porch. He would tell me about his day and we would have a glass of wine and then kind of start our evening-ish kind of thing. And he smokes. But then we would go inside because we're tired of being outside. And then that's when we started to do the art and puzzles. And then listening to music and playing with the dogs. And it's a thing, tag, you're it kind of thing.
Gotcha. Is there anything he drinks specifically, like his go-to drink, or?
It's honestly whatever is
Red
for,
Stag.
which is why we used to drink, like liquor, but
Right.
like months ago.
Right.
Which is why
Yeah, we
have
couldn't
wine.
afford the rock gut anymore.
What did you guys make for dinner last night?
He made a pork sandwich with cheese. And what was it that I ate? I think I made
Pork
a
sandwich with cheese.
and some chips.
You guys didn't have to go out and get anything? You guys in there?
Yes.
Like a sandwich, or like a deli sandwich, like deli meat sandwich, or do you think you had pork ham?
I made a pork one the other day for
you're
he
welcome,
and Lucas.
Cynthia.
And they were
Anytime.
leftovers, so he
had that.
He made a pork loin sandwich with cheese, and I had there's ham in the
Ham sandwich with chips. Okay.
They're a bunch of pork eaters.
Does he normally?
Did I finish No, I finished it yesterday. You missed the stream this morning. This morning I showed a picture of it. Yeah, I showed a picture of the tiling that was completed. Yes, the tiling is done. All I have to do is grout it out, clean that grout. So I'll be cleaning that grout out. I'll probably blow everything off, make sure there isn't any little pieces that are chunks that need to be cleaned out of the way. If I do, I'll just be like a quick grind or something like that. But yeah, that'll be all done. Pork loin with cheese. I mean, yeah. Oh my God, I would not support my ex. No, not at all. No, not at all. No, my ex would be like, see, bye. I mean, you missed the picture? Yeah, I told you, you missed the picture. Keep oversleeping, so you've been missing your morning watching. Okay, give me a second. I'll pull up the picture because you guys really want to see it. All right, give me a second. I will show you a wonderful, wonderful picture of this here just for you guys. All right, give me a second. And click on that, open in a browser, just so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like with all of it done. Here you go. So the tiling is all laid out. It's been completed. Tile is in. See? Got that? Yep, that is the tile done. I still need to put in the hand railings and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's the tile is in. I just need to grout the tile. So there you go. Got the picture. Well, Brian is a little special. He is a little special, but it's okay. Brian's not a bad guy. He just likes it in a pooper sometimes.
Will he come up to bed, or will he do the typical guy thing where he's downstairs and will fall asleep?
Thank you, Timmy.
I mean, he's done that before just because of his crappy day that he had, but yes, we sleep in the same bed.
You normally sleep in the
Yes.
same bed. Do you guys go to bed at the same time?
Most of the time, yes, but because he's been very excited about looking for a job, he might stay downstairs for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then would come upstairs, and he and I would watch movies together until it's just, okay, there's no more movies that we want to watch, and then we would just turn the lights off and go to sleep.
Last night, when you said you went upstairs, do you have like a ritual that you do prior to going to bed? Like, do you brush your teeth, wash your face, put on TV? Is there any like normal things that you do?
Me and myself? No.
Traveling
I'll go
Fool, it's
upstairs,
good to
maybe
see.
like rinse
Yo,
my mouth
yo,
out
yo.
with Listerine.
Okay. Do you recall what you did last
Brother.
night?
I just got in the bed with the dogs,
Okay.
waiting for him.
And how long do you think you were up waiting for him until you passed out?
I wouldn't say I necessarily passed out.
Oh,
Obviously. Yes, he knows too that I'll go upstairs sometime because of how tired I am,
Mm-hmm.
which is why he'll just give me my space a little bit. Maybe I'll watch a show and then he'll come upstairs. So, I mean, like out of the ordinary.
No, I know, but last night, how long do you think it was prior to you falling asleep?
Oh,
Like, how long did you wait up for him?
I mean, does it matter?
20 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, I literally, I dozed off, warm in the bed with the dogs, waiting for him.
Okay.
I didn't even bother turning the TV on. Just
You
got in
dozed
bed.
off for 12 hours.
You know,
Imagine that. She dozed off for 12 hours. Man, if I dozed off for 12 hours, my life would feel incomplete. Good to see you, traveling fools. Good to see you. Good to see you, brother.
that's too, but I would go upstairs because of how tired I am. He knows. Like, I'm mentally exhausted. So,
Who usually gets up first? I mean, are you an early riser? Is he an early riser?
He is.
Or he's usually an early riser?
yeah, he has to be at work by 8 o'clock, so he'll usually wake up at like 6:30-ish if I don't have Lucas.
How long has he been out of work?
Gosh, maybe, well, he did some odd job stuff up there. But I think his last day was like Friday 2 weeks ago.
So he
Jesus.
hasn't worked in about 2 weeks.
Yes.
And during that 2 week period, has he maintained just his body naturally wakes up early, or does he?
Yes, it's his body clock.
Okay. What time is that normally?
Like 6:30, 6:45-ish. But again, if I have Lucas here, I have to take him to school, so we're up at like 6:30. I'm feeling really like weird, guys, like lightheaded.
I hadn't thought about that, but it does look like
I feel
it.
really weird right now.
She's a little sneaky. Sneaky.
I don't know.
Do you need food?
I haven't even fed my dogs today. The mice need to be taken.
A normal person would have let them out long before then. Normal person. But she's not normal. She is not normal.
taken care of still. I don't think they have any food. But again, I'm thinking he's downstairs on the laptop, so he can use the laptop and then I'll use the laptop afterwards.
So it wasn't, when you woke up this morning, it wasn't out of the ordinary that he wasn't there?
What do
You
you mean?
didn't wake up this morning and go, oh, where's George? You woke up thinking, okay, George got up like he normally does before me.
And it's downstairs on the laptop looking for jobs.
You had made a comment earlier that he's losing his teeth.
Yes.
What is
I
that?
think that's,
Wow.
we don't know. I think that's one of the things subconsciously that has been really on his mind also. Is
Probably
that he's
alcohol.
losing his teeth.
Stop drinking.
He just would break off. He lost a whole molar or something in the back the other day. while we're eating. And then he keeps talking about how his chest, and I'm blaming it on stress.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. I don't know what the teeth thing is. I know it can't be a good sign.
You said you got.
Yeah, you drink all the damn time. You've got the stress of this crazy person on top of you. It's like this is not a good place to be. Like this, I would feel very unhealthy. My teeth would be breaking off. It's because I'm malnourished. I mean, malnourishment does that kind of thing to you. You know, just saying.
Into you said an argument, but he had a bunch of
40-pound Frenchie. Jeez, that's a big old boy.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was horrific. Yes.
Was it? I mean, usually when you have that much damage, it's more than just a fist fight. His brother hit him with something?
No. Wait till you guys see Mo. Mo is a gorilla. Like he's.
It is possibly that's what causing the teeth to get messed up.
Did they have to do work on his teeth or his jaw? Or
Just his eyes.
His eyes.
Just the horrible sockets.
Yes. Well, and they fixed his nose too.
Okay. Now the damage to his eyes, is that still? I mean, is it noticeable or?
No.
Okay, so when they fixed the sockets, they came back and you couldn't tell that they'd been damaged?
I couldn't tell, but his children recognize it, where they say he doesn't look like the same dad.
Okay.
But to me, I've never noticed it.
No other damage to the jaw, the forehead, anything like that?
No.
Oh.
It was just his eye and his nose.
Bless you.
Oh, sorry to hear that he's deaf.
You
That
said
sucks.
You're complaining of chest pains?
He had mentioned it.
Well, if this makes you feel any better. Let me see if I've got it here. This might make you feel a little bit better. Here's a Frenchie just for you. How's that? That make you feel better? There you go. Oh, both of them were alcoholics, and I don't think there was any functioning with them. No, they were not functioning at all. They were in bad shape. And I mean, alcohol does that kind of stuff to you. I mean, you know, where you're just like, yeah, I got this under control. I'm just fine. He wasn't just fine. He was malnourished. He was drinking too much alcohol. They were having way too much. I mean, could you imagine that she's like, never mind. I'm not even going to say that. It's just disgusting. Just sorry.
A couple times where I'm just blaming it on stress. But again, I kept trying to encourage him with or without money, go to a walking clinic.
Yeah.
You'll eventually get a bill. But the teeth thing has been worrying me also, and I didn't want to say anything to him about it. But we were in the process of eating dinner, and a tooth comes out. That's scary to me, and a red flag if you ask me.
Well, this is the reason I was asking what you guys had for dinner last night. What is his dietary habits been lately? I mean, he looks super thin to me. Now,
Yes.
I don't know George, but he does not look like he's an average
He
weight.
eats, believe it or not, like a horse. Like he'll eat like 4 or 5 times a day. Again, one of the things that has been concerning me, which you all will be the first people that I actually say this to, is his weight. For the amount of food that he eats throughout the day, how he doesn't gain any weight. He and I and Luke is going out to Publix every time we step on the scale, and he continuously loses weight. Well, I don't even want to step on the scale anymore.
How long has this been going on for?
Months.
So way before losing his job.
Yes.
It's a possibility that he's drinking so much that he's throwing up. So yeah, he's not gaining any weight. That is so cute. This is my first Frenchie. Usually rescue Boston Terriers. Just had a litter of 8, all adopted. Mom too. That's congratulations. His teeth hurt. He's not eating that much. Yeah, if his teeth hurt, he's probably not eating. He's more than likely malnourished. And I've heard this. I don't know that this is true, but people that are like, you know, the kind of people that will drink from sun up to sundown, they wake up and they start drinking again. It's because they threw up everything that they had inside of them the night before. Then they wake up the next morning and they're just needing to get they're needing to get their head clear, so they'll drink some more, and then they just drink throughout the day, and you know, they'll do that well into the wee hours of the morning. And you know, it's like rinse and repeat, like it's a non-stop like drinking binge that just doesn't stop. I don't know, because that's never happened to me. I mean, I've drank to excess and gotten sick from it. I hate throwing up like so much that's why I probably stop drinking before I get to that point. But yeah, I cannot imagine. I just cannot imagine living like that. Welcome, Kitty Kate. Been a member for 5 months. Congratulations with that. That's wonderful. Yeah, Boston Terrier Rescue, Tennessee, Florida. That's awesome. Yeah, we've got all our dogs are rescues. Every single one of them. It's pretty awesome.
It's been ongoing. I mean, I'm not going to say months. I could say at least a good year.
Mm.
And he eats like a horse.
And you said you don't know of any drug history?
Since I've been with him and known him, he's never done drugs. But I know him growing up in Philadelphia, he had a bad stint with marijuana and alcohol. And when you talk to his children and or his ex-wife, she will tell you. His family will tell you. But since he's been with me, no, I have not. He's never done drugs, Alan.
Your phone, is it password protected or
Yes.
touch screen?
It's password protected.
Does George know the password as well?
He doesn't know the code, but he does the face thing.
His face will
recognition.
Okay.
And the only reason why I have that is because I lost 2 phones previously where before I had the passcode was somebody else being able to get into my phone because I lost it twice. So that's the only reason why I have it.
Oh, like that's the reason you put a password on it,
Yes.
just in case you lost your phone?
Yes.
There you go. I love it. I love it, man. That's a beautiful thing.
Okay, so do you recall what time you went to bed?
I know that it was after midnight.
Okay. How do you know that? Like, what makes you remember that?
Because I walked up the stairwell and we have a clock that's on top.
She hasn't changed the clock
you
in
see it
like
as you're
4
walking up the
years.
stairwell?
Yes. You have to turn the corner and it's right here.
Okay. And you don't remember when you went in the shower, around what time it was, looking at that same clock?
I didn't shower. I mean, I showered earlier in the day.
No, when you said you hid in the shower.
She
when
didn't
you're
shower.
brushing
She
teeth,
smelled
Did you
rank.
happen to look at that clock then and see what time it was?
No, I just happened to look
Driving
up
down the road. Listen.
on my way.
Going to bed.
Thank you, Ballstar. Driving down the road, listening to this nut job and Sarah Boone. It's awesome. Oh yeah. Whenever you're all set up, just hit up MG. And I told MG if we start early, that's fine too. I can end this thing on a dime. This is one of those interrogations I wanted to hear, and most definitely there's a couple of issues that happened in court this day, so it'll be
We're going
good.
into the room.
Yes.
Okay, so it's after midnight. Do you think it's before 1 a.m. though? Was it between midnight and 1 or?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, if I had to say, it was like 12:30-ish.
Okay.
Got a ways to go. Hey, don't worry, man. We're good. No
Okay,
worries.
and when
get
you
to
went
listen in.
upstairs, you and George were no longer having a conversation, laughing about the suitcase. You just decided to go upstairs.
No, I was laughing about him being locked in a
Okay, so you
suitcase.
continued to joke about it as you were going upstairs,
Yeah.
thinking he'll just get himself out and then.
Yes, that's why I didn't close it all the way.
Oh, I'll
That's
give
why I
warning.
didn't close it all the way.
I'll give warning.
I'm like, he'll
Don't
be
you
up here in a
worry.
minute now. But then, I guess I dozed off. And again, I'm thinking he's downstairs on the laptop this morning. Because he gets out of bed.
Showing the man some love. Absolutely, Susan. Absolutely. No,
When you
no
put him in
compassion.
or when he got into the suitcase,
Yes.
correct? So the suitcase now, if we're looking at it, what side was his head on when he got into the suitcase and you zipped him? Was his head?
He was on the baseball bat side of the suitcase.
If we're looking
If
at
it's
it,
like this,
uh-huh.
his head was here. The hole was here.
So his head
Oh,
was
sorry to
closer
hear
to
that, Tammy.
where,
Yes.
like when you close it, his head was closer to where it's closed.
No, that's where his head's here. This is him doing the finger thing over here.
Right, so his head
Oh,
is
don't
closer
finger
to where
that
you
thing.
close it. So when you close
No.
it, his head is on that side, or his head is on the opposite side of where you close it. Because there's obviously an open, there's one that the suitcase is open, and then when it's shut, and it's obviously, the zipper is on opposite sides.
So if you do this, yes, his head was here.
He was
where
doing the
this
finger
zipper
thing.
was.
Okay.
Just saying.
But again, that's why I didn't zip it up all the way.
Or was he doing the finger thing? You know, this one right here. Is he doing the
Is there
finger
anything
thing?
else that you think is important for us to know that we haven't
Maybe
asked
he
you?
was doing the finger thing.
I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know, again, if he had like a heart attack or an aneurysm or what. Like, I don't know what happened.
Do you keep your phone on
Huh.
you? Like, is it always in your possession?
No. Because it's a community phone between me and him, like if he needs it, most of the time it's on the kitchen counter.
Okay.
Where it's like, he knows that's where my phone is. Or, hey, after you're done talking to Lucas, do you mind if I call my daughter?
Scared the Sarah Boone headache from
Right.
this.
Our phone.
No, I get it. I just,
Oh
But
God.
no, I don't walk around with my phone on me all the time.
okay.
I
Did you
imagine
bring it upstairs
so.
with you when you were going to bed?
No.
No. Okay. So it stays downstairs. Or is downstairs with them?
Yes, he's downstairs with him. Because that's how I heard my phone ringing, and I knew it was Brian because he called over and over and over and over again, which is what he does.
So you assumed it was him, but you didn't know.
Yeah, he's just like, why aren't you coming to pick up the
Yes,
kid?
because he calls back to back to back to back to back to back. So I eventually finally answer.
To
Okay.
wake your ass up.
Okay, so your phone was downstairs.
Yes.
Yeah, look at the lawyer. Lawyers are not happy right now. They're like, shit, how can we save this?
Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But may I ask you though, because I was telling you guys about it earlier,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know if I'm afraid for my life at this point.
Needs help.
But
I'm afraid.
I don't know anything about your guys' history. Like, I don't know, other than the family not liking you, like,
And they get upset because of the drinking. And just the things that we have gone through, and I know that they don't want him to be with me, but he and
are
I,
they gonna tell me that he's an alcoholic?
probably.
Okay. Are they gonna tell me that you're an alcoholic?
They'll say that, but they don't know, they assume,
Okay. Why do they say that he's an alcoholic?
because of his track record in Philadelphia and all of the things that he has done. Cars that he's wrecked, ex-wives' cars. He's been divorced twice. And he has, yes, they'll say that.
Okay.
They'll say that, but they don't know, they just assume.
Okay. Well, people have their opinions, okay? You can't not,
Oof.
there's nothing you can do about someone having an opinion and saying something like that. As far as what's going on here, I've told you, prior, we don't know what happened. So I understand you feel like they're gonna not accept, what happened and they're gonna think that it's your fault, but at this time, we cannot conclude and say anything differently. I know we talked about you possibly going somewhere else for tonight. You have to do what you have to do to keep yourself safe, but at this point in time, no one has made a threat to you. No one has done anything. Right, but we will obviously talk to them, and of course, we're gonna instruct them that this is an ongoing investigation.
I have my son.
Well, your son's with Brian, and is gonna stay with Brian. So, we're gonna cross that bridge when we get to it. I know you're fearful of it now, but nothing has happened to where you're in fear based off past history and what they think of you and how,
They threaten me all the time.
Do you have proof, or is it all verbal? Like, would it be in your phone?
No, it's verbal.
Okay.
It's verbal.
So it's he said versus she said, or she said versus she said. So
Yeah,
he said,
they've been really nasty to me. Really nasty to me.
it's gonna be a shock. It's gonna be, everyone handles things differently. We're not gonna leave there with them hooting and hollering.
She's going to
and being
class,
upset.
and then they're gonna all come over here.
Okay, well, who's gonna collect? I don't even know
His mom.
His mom? What's his mom's name?
Blanca.
Is that her government name, or is that just what you call her?
No, I think that's her government name.
And you said she lives around here?
They live down the street.
When's the last time you said he doesn't even really talk to his family because he chose you over them, so when's the last time you've seen them or talked to him?
I believe he did something with his brothers a couple of weeks ago, but I don't go over there.
Okay. Like, so if he goes over there, you do not go?
No.
But he did something with his brothers
I'm guessing so. I know that they come up to his job all the time.
when he was working there?
Yes.
Okay.
So they don't come, I mean, they have come over here and have just been completely disrespectful.
Okay.
And again, he ended up having to tell them, don't come over here if you're gonna act like that and treat Sarah like that.
Do you know their address?
I have it inside, I know it's Valhalla Boulevard, but if you go down, what is this out here? Goldenrod? There's a Twisty Tree ice cream place on the right hand side, and you turn down that road. And then you make a left, and then you see Valhalla, and you make a right, and their house is white, and it's fenced in, and it's got a whole bunch of garden flowers.
I'm gonna end my recording, is that okay?
That was enough of
One
that.
quick question, just out of curiosity. I'm noticing your front door, it has a bunch of dents in it. What is that from?
When we moved in, they were already there.
I don't see any other doors with dents like that.
Whoever it was that lived here previously, I know it was a girl that was here when we moved in.
Versus
This is
other.
the recording 1747.
Yeah, it was. And then got more.
Did you also make contact with Ryan Boone?
Yes, before I spoke to Sarah Boone, yes.
And did you have an opportunity to interview him?
Yes, I did.
While on scene, did you also begin the process of examining the defendant's cell phone?
I did not examine it myself, but we have a waivers and affidavits form that has a consent portion on it. And so I did start doing the paperwork for that.
And I have a way of pausing pictures just so you guys know. Here you go. Here's the picture of hot detective paused. Yeah, I have a way of pausing pictures in the most inappropriate way. I don't know what happens. Just imagine that beautiful face. There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's me.
You obtained consent from the defendant in this case?
Yes, on scene to search through her cell phone.
And what time did you become aware of the videos on her cell phone?
So a digital forensic investigator responded out to the scene, and she responded out a little after 7 p.m. And I would assume she probably started doing, whatever she needed to do. And then a short time later, she came over and got my attention and expressed to me that I needed to look at something in her phone.
And these were the suitcase videos, correct?
Yeah, they were 2 separate videos from the night prior.
When you observed these videos, what actions did you take?
When I observed the videos, I directed the digital investigator to stop processing and downloading her phone any further, and that I was going to write a search warrant for her cell phone.
Did you obtain that search warrant for her cell phone?
Yes, it was signed by a judge the next day.
And she was obviously able to finish the digital analysis, correct?
Yeah, she was able to get the full download as well. She had already gotten the videos downloaded the night prior, but she was able to do whatever she does to get the full download.
In the course of your interview with the defendant, you were relayed information that I guess she had gone to Publix the previous day. Is that correct?
In the interview?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm sorry. In the interview that we just listened to about going to Publix?
In the course of speaking with her, did you learn that she had gone to Publix?
Yes, I was under the impression that, that George had gone to Publix.
Did you follow up with that Publix for surveillance video in this case?
Yes, I went to the Publix to gather surveillance video.
No, they did. Here's the thing, Frank. They didn't have. Yes, you're correct. They didn't have a warrant for the phone before searching it, because she gave them access to the phone. And I'll say this, like I said before. I think that Sarah was drunk when she recorded that, and she was passed out drunk, like she was blackout drunk, and she had no idea that that's what she said, that's what she did at all. She had no idea what she was doing whenever she did that. I'll you know, it's just like if you've ever seen someone that's been caused like a major accident from drinking and driving, they don't realize what they actually did at the time that happened. I mean, they're aware of it, but they're not. And more than likely, that's where she was at. And so she had no idea, what was on that phone. She probably doesn't even remember recording it. Wasn't she still fuzzy when she talked to them? But she still did it willingly. And I'll say this multiple times throughout this trial, that, you know, just because you're drunk is not an excuse for doing bad things. That is not an excuse in the court system. You had at any point in time, you didn't have to take that last drink, or in her case, half a bottle. You didn't have to take that last drink before you step into a car to run down a school bus of nuns. Or you don't have to, you know, that these are things that you've done to yourself. She looks cool, calm, and beautiful, but she seems to be having major stress mouth with a little smack sound as she starts each answer. Well, these kinds of things can be stressful. Well, that makes sense. That's why it's not evidentiary issues. Yes. They try to get those things thrown out, but she gave those up willingly to the police.
And were you able to find that video of them at Publix the previous day?
Yes.
Your Honor, request permission to publish Stage 2.
You may.
Yeah. I bet you do. Oh. I think this is where it gets a little crazy, a little psycho.
Show you the video taken from.
All right, so I haven't seen this before.
Ma'am, using the laser pointer, could you please identify the victim and the defendant on this video?
Right there. So that's her and George. And this is why they had the Publix manager there at this particular interview. Why is that guy buying all that bleach? So look at that bottle. Just buying a bottle of wine.
That was purchased in this video?
Yes, it's right here.
We could move on to the publication of the second surveillance video.
And then here he comes with the second bottle.
Can you identify Mr. Torres for us in this video?
Damn.
Is that the second bottle wine?
Wow. Congratulations to your grandson. That's awesome. Good to see you, Scranton. Glad you could make it.
In the course of your investigation, did you also interview individuals from the apartment complex while they were living?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to also interview their neighbors?
Hey, little D. Good to see you.
Yes, I did.
Did you interview Juan Torres?
Yes, the following day.
And did you attend the autopsy in this case?
Yes, the following morning.
Your Honor, may I approach with the defense?
Yes.
How he fit in that suitcase. You're more limber when plastered. However, part of the reason most drunks survive car crashes. Yeah. It's about to get a little crazy here in a second.
The jury, it is 3:34.
This it?
Members of the jury, it is 3:34. My understanding, based on the state, is the next part of their presentation is going to be kind of long in length. So we're going to go ahead and take our afternoon break at this point in time. Similar instruction that I've given you over the last Sergeant.
Let's get it.
For 15 minutes. Thank you.
All right, let's see. All right, so 15 minutes later, let's see, that's 40. All right, so there we go. It's about 15 minutes later. It'll take a second for it to load up. He had help. He had to have help getting in that suitcase. I mean, I agree. Let's see. Let's see.
State. Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing the same clothing from this morning. She is in custody but not wearing any restraints. So again, we'll continue to stand when our jury enters and exits. I believe we're getting to the part of the state's presentation with the recorded interview on February 25, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And what do we need to address with regard to that in advance, if anything?
Judge, I believe it's identified as state's exhibit for identification S, as in Sam.
Okay.
And I believe that's the 2-hour interrogation video that I had filed the pretrial motion to suppress, which the court had denied, but contemporaneously, I want to make that objection.
Okay, understood. Any other objections?
No, sir.
Okay. It
Now
was
you figured
edited
out how to use the microphone.
based on the court's granting of the motion in limine, defense's motion in limine prior to trial. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yep.
A copy of the edited version was provided to the defense, I believe, on the first day of jury selection.
That's true.
Okay, and I'm assuming the video that's going to be provided to our jury this afternoon is that exact same video?
Yes.
Do you want me to read the 2.2 instruction prior to it being played after it being received into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Which instruction is that?
that's the instruction on edited recording.
Okay.
Okay, anything else we need to address state before we bring back in our jury?
Not for the state.
Mr. Beck, Mr.
Your Honor, if I may real briefly.
Appearances, sir.
Contemporaneous objection?
No. I'll talk about the reports that the court.
Most definitely.
Last sidebar before the jury was brought in this afternoon.
Fine, let me just get your appearance, Mr. Beck.
I'm sorry, yes, Kevin Beck on behalf of Sarah Boone.
Yes, sir.
There was a discussion regarding these depositions that were going to be taken this afternoon of the defense witnesses that were recently noticed. I do have some concerns about the court having indicated to defense that if we had reports, things of that nature, we should share those with the state to the extent that those reports were generated by our investigator there, potentially work product privilege. And so we're happy to work with the state, cooperate with the state, give them what we can, but I want to express to the state that we are not waiving work product privilege by providing whatever information we can to allow this process to move forward.
Understood. I'm not seeking to have you turn over anything to the state that may be protected by any attorney-client or work product privilege. My takeaway was there's something that could be provided. If it can, Fantastic. If it can't, the court's ruling from previously still remains. Since we have an opportunity to revisit our list during the lunch break, did you have an opportunity, Mr. Owens, addressing the USB to CD conversion for any evidence to be provided or sought to be introduced by the defense?
My understanding is that Mr. Billy Lane was going to go to Staples or somewhere and purchase one of those DVDs, CDs, or whatever it is that makes the conversion, so we anticipate it will be done.
Okay, excellent. All right. Anything else we need to address then before we bring back in our panel state?
Not for the sake.
Defense. All right, let's stand and bring back in our panel.
I think this is where the shenanigans happen. Well, he could have zipped it up by himself.
You all can be seated. Members of the jury, again, if you could, just raise your hands to confirm you complied with the court's instructions. Record reflect all hands have been raised. Thank you very much. State, you may continue.
Hey, good job.
On February 25th of 2020, did you set up a follow-up interview?
Good evening, Stacy.
In this case?
Yes, I did.
And that was after you had attended the autopsy that morning, correct?
The interview, the follow-up interview was to be conducted after the autopsy. Not necessarily set up, but it was to be conducted after the autopsy.
I apologize if I misspoke on that.
Sorry.
Was that interview recorded?
Yes, it was, audio and video.
And where did that interview take place?
Central Operations at the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness what's been marked for identification as states S and shown to the defense?
You may.
And this is the 2-hour video.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states S.
That's
Do
right,
you recognize
Stacy
that
Punk
disc?
Rock sister.
Yes, I do.
And tell us, what is this disc?
This is the follow-up interview conducted on February 25th, 2020 at Orange County Central Operations with the defendant, Sarah Boone.
And does it fairly and accurately represent the interview that took place between yourself and the defendant?
Yes,
And is that your initials on this disc?
it is, yes.
And you had an opportunity to review it prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move marked for identification as states S into evidence.
The only objection is from the previous pre-trial issues.
Questioning without charge. Has anyone there?
Move what's been marked for identification as states
All right.
S into evidence.
And of course, this is where they're going to read her rights.
The state will, court will receive an evidence that was pre-marked as states
yeah.
S over objection as States Exhibit 20.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
Momentarily. Members of the jury, I have an instruction to read to you before the Exhibit 20 is published to you. Members of the jury, you are about to view and listen to a video recording. The court instructs you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view, listen to, and consider this evidence.
Sure. So obviously, he received his autopsy. So I'm going to read you the rights again because we have to talk about that. And since I'm
Welcome,
about
Drexy.
infant,
Hello, Patrick.
we just have to do it. It's like
Good to see you.
just like we did yesterday. Remember I read you the rights? Your rights? Yeah. Just the exact same thing, but since I'm asking you follow-up questions, I need to read them to you, okay? All right, so you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me? No. And do you understand what I just read you? Yes. Perfect. Okay. So this morning we went to his autopsy, and we were informed of some injuries that he has by the doctor. So I want so he's got scratch marks to his back. I know that's wrong. Okay. And
it's called a contusion. Do you know what a contusion is? So like basically you're getting hit and then you get a mark from it. You'll get bruising. Like someone hit you or something like that. It's called a contusion.
Let's
So he had
forward some of this here.
sound like either I have done her wrong, but he's changed. He changed. Power or like when we started to play. I see. Yeah.
Hide and seek.
We went inside probably about half a day. We were out there too long. Maybe about 6-ish. Then you're talking about coming in outside. Okay. Well, we have 2 beach chairs that are out there. Right. Just enjoy the weather. Gotcha. Plus it's starting to get dark and nasty mosquitoes. Yeah. So let's go inside. I want. Okay.
Here it comes. Here comes the video that they show her. Red satin shirt tomorrow in support of Detective Disco. There you go, Nanny Goat.
Let me just grab something.
I was just simply asking because you had a look on your face when she asked you if you've ever done that before. You look kind of shocked. And
No.
why did you say it like that? Like,
I don't think you all understand who I am. Where,
well, tell me.
I mean, I've always been a straight A
Tell us who
student.
you
I
are,
am
Sarah.
an outstanding mother to my son. I excel at everything.
Everything.
I would not do that.
You would not put somebody in a suitcase?
Well, I didn't like completely lock it. I mean, I opened it with one finger. I left enough in there for us to get out.
Okay.
And I wasn't planning on going upstairs and going to sleep.
You were bashing the detective earlier today.
You guys are staring at me.
Shame.
We just want you to watch this. It came from your phone. Don't you want to know what's on it? Yes, please.
Hey, Tracy. Good to see you. Here's the video.
Is it long? Because I don't know how much I can take.
Is it long because I don't know how much I can take? So you think maybe in the back of her mind she knows exactly what she did and forgot about it until
Do I
now?
have to watch this? I continuously throw up. I don't sleep. I don't want to see it. That's okay. Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it or we take it for what it is.
We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
It's that long? 2 minutes.
For everything you guys mean. For everything you guys mean. Fuck you. Fuck you.
That's you.
Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it up. Yeah, that's when you do me joking.
I don't want to watch that, please.
Last time we talked to you, you said that.
And that is the response of somebody that's going, holy crap, I didn't realize that was recorded. That's why it's because it's that close to her. And every time he got up and down from the chair, he never once protected his force multiplier. I don't think he's worried about that. Yeah.
You put him in the suitcase, you had 2 fingers hanging out.
I flipped him over. I flipped him over, and that's where it was.
You flipped him over.
Videos and a still picture where, it shows you flipping him in different positions, and him saying that he can't breathe, and you saying, fuck
So
you.
this is upside down. So in order for him to have gotten into it, it was flipped up. Right. It was flipped up normal. Yeah. Like as if you're packing something. So this is upside down. Guys, this is killing me right now. So this image is upside down, and then this small video that occurred 11 minutes later is flipped over the other way, closer to your dining room table. Okay. Now he's obviously still in there. So he didn't. How did it go from the back to the front? I flipped it. Okay. My plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep. Well, that's what you did.
Yeah.
But not intentional. No, you told me you went upstairs because you were upstairs for bed. Stop here. Okay, but show me where you can see any fingers coming out, because they're at the end. And his head's right here. Mm-hmm. So going like this, rather than going all the way up, it's like this. But why is he saying I can't breathe, and why is he pushing on it as if he can't get out?
It doesn't show a hole.
There's no hole, there's no fingers, I don't see his fingers, there's no hole. I don't know what
No
you want me to
holes,
tell you.
no
I don't
fingers.
know what you
Can't
want me to tell
get
you.
out.
I'm just telling you what we see and what we've heard from the
I
other
understand. I understand.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning, and then in the end, it sounds kind of like a,
No, it's not malicious.
Well, saying fuck you,
It's not malicious.
then what is that?
what does fuck you mean to you?
Well,
Like if I were to tell
oh, like, yeah, like, I get told everything by a white woman, so
Okay.
my intention was not to leave him in there. Please understand that. My intention was not to leave him in there.
But you went
Doesn't matter what your intention was. You left him in there, sweetheart. And we've watched this before multiple times. I've played this video. I'm going to get down to a little bit further down in the video. This is because we're coming up on the time that we're going to be firing up over on MGs. So I want to make sure that we get all of it in that we possibly can. And tonight is going to be the disaster. We like to just basically derail it completely over on MG's channel. So it'll be coming. You guys just wait. And the waiting begins.
We're going by the facts. It happened.
And this is where they're doing a bukkake swab.
To the best of my knowledge.
Oh, I'm sorry, buckle swab.
Why?
Because you have to talk to somebody to assure that everything that we talked about is
true and accurate to the best of that person's knowledge.
not a trick question.
To the best of my knowledge?
To the best of your knowledge.
Everything that you told us today is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge.
Yes, but it was not intentional.
Okay.
All right, okay, stand up. You just turn around, face the wall. Put your hands behind your back. Do you have anything in your pockets that I should know about?
No.
Okay.
Why is this happening?
Because George is dead.
Not intentionally.
We understand that.
He's still dead.
Well, we don't.
Someone needs to call Brian, please.
Okay.
Or can I not make a phone call?
You'll be able to make a phone call. You can be sent to the jail.
So why is this happening? So this was a trick.
No, it's not. How's the trick? I'm here to ask you to explain a few things to us. And
You were right, you're right.
your response to everything was, basically, I didn't do it.
Intentionally.
Doesn't matter.
Intentionally. Uh-huh.
Have sheets?
I imagine it was most favorite part.
Really?
So if I can show up. Why was it happening?
Because
Before you all said I could leave. That I was done after that.
we were done, yes, we were done. Absolutely.
So now, so that's what it is,
We are done.
right?
Oh my God. She is just like, but I thought I could go home after this. Yeah, it's not going to happen. She's got a new home now. Reality sets in.
Not intentional.
Okay.
So what
Okay.
am I supposed to do now?
You will,
Someone needs to call Brian. Lucas is waiting for Mom to come home. This was not my intention. I thought I was waiting for you all to come and figure out what's what and how many.
that's what we're trying to do.
And I was going to be able to go home and see Lucas. Now he's just not gonna have me come home. So there's nothing that I can do.
No.
There's nothing that I can do in order to go home and see Lucas and prepare.
You'll be
Wow.
afforded a time in court, you'll be afforded an attorney, you'll be afforded a chance to.
It's pretty
talk to
low,
the
Frank.
judge, and all that stuff will be worked out.
But what's the time frame for that though?
I have no way of being able to tell you, you should make a first appearance probably tomorrow morning, if not tonight, depending on how things are busy, how quickly you get down there.
I have
I
a
don't work in.
suspicion this is gonna happen. And I need water like really bad, please.
I had a suspicion this was going to happen. And she's just like, she's not going to, Lucas isn't going to see mommy because mommy's not coming home because mommy's, got drunk and locked her boyfriend in a suitcase. The hell kind of man can fit in a suitcase? 5'2", 103 pounds, fitting into your largest suitcase. That's how. Yeah.
You all check me down.
Absolutely did not.
Saying you tricked me.
I just got those.
Okay. Yeah, you're not allowed in the jail.
So I can't even smoke cigarettes in my bathroom.
Can't even smoke a cigarette. Oh. Poor woman was set up. And look at that. Just staring him down.
So you find where it is. When you get down there, you'll have 3 phones you'll be able to call.
What, as soon as possible?
Yeah, once you get down there, get hooked in, you'll be able to use a phone in the waiting
How
room.
long will that take? Because I need to talk to Brian.
Yeah, no, it depends how busy, how quickly they get you through.
And it's amazing to me. She is concerned about herself, about her son, her car. Never once is she concerned that a man lost his life. Not ever once. I don't want to see that. That couldn't have happened.
I would say within the hour. It's a pre-phone call in the lobby. It's a pre-phone call.
All I'm doing is bringing you there so I can keep bringing you up there.
She has no clue.
So can I ask you, or whoever it is, those holding cells, am I gonna be pregnant one of those?
I don't know.
Last time I had a panic attack.
Let them know that.
Oh, panic
Well,
attack.
you're familiar with the big bay. As long as you go in and you act civil to them, they'll set you in the big bay. You'll be left there for
Can
a
you
while.
request that when I'm in?
No, that's not us. We don't work at the jail.
As long as like you're saying, if you don't
You
act
go in
up.
and act like this, you'll go
Yes.
in and they'll put you in the big bay. If you go in there screaming and kicking and yelling and
How do I
cursing,
do that?
I don't know. I'm just letting you know that's what happens. That's how they weed people out. If you go in acting like this,
So I asked for the big bang?
they'll put you there as long as you're acting like this.
Yeah, because the last time I had a major panic attack with a little thing.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have not.
So what am I gonna do with my purse? Okay.
The first is gonna come, but the cigarettes and stuff can't, so.
I put the lock up too, my bad.
Oh, no, it's all good. Mine are now opposite, so.
What made you all decide to do this?
Made us decide to do this.
Uh-huh.
Georgia said.
You guys, I knew this was gonna happen.
You did?
You did?
So I came back to the village.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what's going to happen? So you brought cigarettes with you?
What's going on? We're still trying to figure out.
Unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
I have my, I don't know if it's able to see or not.
I apologize.
I have things in my car that I need to.
Oh,
What kind of stuff you have in your car that you're worried about?
Well, I have my medication.
Okay, they have a pharmacy there, so if there's something that you have to
He
have
was.
right away, you'll be seeing a
It's
nurse.
panic attack stuff.
So, again, when you get checked in, you're gonna be seeing a nurse. And that, they have a pharmacy there, so they'll be able to take care of any kind of that stuff. That protocol is out of my realm.
oh yeah. She asked for her cigarettes.
You know they do have a pharmacy.
I just bought
You
them.
will be worried to see somebody. Okay?
Hold on.
I can put it in. All right.
And that was her interview.
approach the bench?
Yes.
Yeah. That was her interview.
Involved in this case.
Any kind of that stuff, that
Crazy as all get out.
Instruction that I need to read to you at this time.
This
You
is the
have
final
heard
jury
and
instructions.
watched a recorded interview that contained opinions and statements by Detective Lowen and Detective Copsel to Sarah Boone. These opinions and statements are pertinent only to explain the reactions and responses they elicit. You are not to consider these opinions and statements by the police officers as true, but only to establish the context of Sarah Boone's reactions and responses. You may continue.
Ma'am, did all of these events that you have testified to in regards to your investigation, did they all occur in Orlando, Orange County, Florida?
Yes, they did.
And ma'am, do you see the person today here in court who admitted to zipping up George Torres in the suitcase?
Yes, I do.
Do you see the person today here in court whose voice you heard on the suitcase video taunting George Torres?
Yes.
Do you see the person here today in court who admitted to you flipping George Torres while he was in the suitcase?
Yes, I do.
And do you see the person today here in court who admitted going to bed while George Torres continued to suffer in the suitcase?
Yes, I do.
Could you please identify that person by an article of clothing they're wearing?
Yes, she's at the defense table in black and I guess a pinkish top.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant?
Record will so reflect.
No further questions at this time.
Damn.
Members of the jury, it is 5:59. I tried to get you out of here before 6. We will continue with the balance of the state's presentation tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm going to give you another instruction similar to what I've read you previously over the last couple of days. Jurors, you must not conduct any investigation on your own. This includes reading newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get in.
Well, she's pretty, and you know she puts out. I mean, she does have a kid, so just saying. It's so bad. I should ask for her handcuffs.
Information related to this case or the people and places involved in this case. This applies whether you are in the courthouse, at home, or anywhere else. You must not visit places mentioned in the trial or use the internet to look at maps or pictures to see any place discussed during the trial. Jurors, do not watch local news or read local newspapers. Jurors must not have discussions of any sort with friends, family members, or even your fellow jurors about the case or the people and places involved. So do not let anyone make comments to you or ask questions about the trial. I want to stress again that just as you must not talk about this case face-to-face, you must not talk about this case by using an electronic device. You must not use phones, computers, or other electronic devices to communicate. Do not send or accept any messages related to this case or your jury service. Do not discuss this case or ask for advice by any means at all, including posting information on an internet website, chat room, or blog. With that, members of the jury, we'll be in recess for this evening. We will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And again, I thank you for your attention and your sacrifice in this matter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she got her ass handed to her. She did that to herself. She did all of that to herself. Well, it has been 3 hours. I was able to punch through a good portion of this, sort of like a donkey punch coming from behind during Sunday Spice. But I'm going to forward you guys over to MG Law. I'm going to go get a little bit of water and get prepared for tonight because we're going to get derailed over on MG's. I've got the link up there in the top. If you guys want to join in over there, it is going to be a blast. Going to have Expert, Volstorm, MG Law starting at 11 o'clock. Did you realize it? Let's go. And I will have the updated video uploaded hopefully tonight to show for you guys tomorrow, so you can go back and you can get the unedited version of it. There will be a lot less skips in there. I'll be cutting out all the blank spots in it, and I should have the audio working a little bit better. for you. And I'm hoping that that works out really good. I just have to do a little bit more editing on it. So I will see you guys in less than 30 minutes over in MG's. And with that, everyone, see you tomorrow. It's going to get crazier tomorrow. And, also everyone keep Baker in your thoughts and prayers. I believe that he ate some halibut that wasn't good for him. And possibly, he was eating chocolate chip cookie dough. And, the thought of being locked in a suitcase was just too much for him to handle. But everybody, no, seriously though, keep Baker in your thoughts. He's not feeling too well. All right. See you guys in just a short period of time.
Looking tight, I call and wait. You passed out, hoping you return my fate. And you must stash out. Stupid game has turned to cruel. Are you feeling me? Love's gotta feel the fool like you breathe. Wasn't meant to be my night. Hiding in the suitcase tight. Sarah's giggles fade away, leaving me as a castaway. Sarah, let me out. I'm begging, please. And please, breathing stuff, I'm almost pegging.